Hey guys, tonight we're unraveling secrets from a place where parchment outlives empires and where one wrong breath could scatter history to ashes. Picture this, you're knee-deep in a Spanish monastery's archives, dust motes swirling like rebellious constellations. That quick research trip your advisor suggested. Yeah, it's about to turn into a choose-your-own adventure where you probably won't survive the footnotes. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment with your location and local time. Let's see which midnight crew's tuning in from where. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your wrist brushes against a codex whose spine crumbles like shortbread. Crumbs of leather raining onto stone. Something pale slips free. An envelope, yellowed as old teeth, its wax seal stubbornly intact. That crimson blob of sealing wax. Historians confirmed medieval Aragonese scribes used beeswax mixed with ox gall, same stuff they put in ink to make it stick. Grim, but less gross than the candle wax made from rendered sheep fat some northern monks preferred. The script on the front isn't just old, it's defiant. Your thumb traces letters that squirm like eels, formal Aragonese cursive from the 15th century. Each stroke says I contain multitudes, or maybe open me and regret it. The name at the bottom, María de Luna, whispers itself 3 times as your eyes pass over it. Don't look up whether she's historically significant, yet the air just got heavier, right? Like the ceilings pressing down to watch. You're breaking like 7 archival protocols. Right now, no gloves. Leaning on the manuscript rack, breathing too fast. The seal cracks with a sound like stepped-on snow inside. A single sheet folded 13 times. Someone really didn't want prying eyes. Unfurling, it feels like skinning a serpent. Each layer hisses faintly. The ink's held up better than modern relationships. Jet black lines declaring to the thief who disturbs this tomb. Wait, tomb. This came from a library, not a crypt. Historians still argue whether the real Monasterio de Signa doubled as a royal mausoleum back in its glory days. The quirky bit, some 15th century scribes allegedly wrote curses in invisible ink made from vinegar and alum. Bet you're glad your screen's not scratch and sniff right now. Your nail catches on a ridge. The paper's thicker here, held to the light. Hidden letters bloom. A palimpsest's ghost demanding attention. It's like the writer screamed through quill strokes, buried not in stone, but memory. Before the official text smothered it, the main message details dowry payments for a Joanna of Naples, dry as tax records. But that ghost phrase wriggles. Did someone bind a love letter inside a receipt? A draft slithers down your neck, scented with damp stone and iron. Behind you, shelves creak, empty, obviously. Except now the envelope's gone cold. Metal cold. Your phone flashlight reveals tiny crystals in the wax salt. No sugar. Someone sealed this with sweetened wax, a medieval trick to deter rodents. Too bad it didn't stop humans. The shadow by the door's just a coat rack mostly. Your pulse argues otherwise. That's when you spot the second name tucked under a flourishes, Alonso de Egea. Rings a bell. He chaired the Council of Zaragoza in 1492 back, when chairing a council meant avoiding assassins between coffee breaks. One sentence snags you. Ensure the Venetian doge's letter reaches the Egyptian king before the moon voids Scorpio. Astrology in diplomacy. More common than you'd think, court astrologers often timed treaty signings. The weather pharaohs gave a damn about horoscopes. Scholarly catfight material there. The parchment stiffens. Wait, no, your hands are shaking. That's not chill. The temperature actually dropped. Your breath hangs visible in June. The letter crinkles like autumn leaves as you refold it. María de Luna's name catches the light, ink momentarily glinting gold. You jam the page back into its envelope, seal it with a dab of gum Arabic from your pocket. Not archival grade, but desperate times. The codex sighs as you slot the envelope home, its spine mending slightly under your palm. Coincidence or centuries-old parchment magic? Let's go with coincidence for sanity's sake. Floorboards groan 3 aisles over. Time's up. You retreat, heels echoing too loud. But here's the kicker, your pocket's heavier now. That wax seal. It's in there, cold and perfect, though you never broke it. Fun fact, medieval Aragonese scribes sometimes slipped human hair into paper pulp for strength. Might explain why this feels personal. Your finger finds a strand poking from the envelope's edge, jet black, coarse. Was that there before? The door clicks shut behind you, lock grinding like a pepper mill. Whatever just happened, they'll blame the sleep deprivation. But as you cross the courtyard, moonlight sharp enough to cut glass, one thought nags. That letter's heartbeat matches yours. Candle wax drips like honey slow. Your shadow stretches across vellum-scattered desks. You run a finger along a dried inkwell. Its iron gall scent pricks your nose, centuries-old sharpness. Remember those monks complaining about eye strain in marginal doodles. They'd kill for your LED headlamp. Medieval ink recipes demanded oak galls and rainwater boiled with rust for that rich black. For extra fun, the Pope's own scribes added wine, though whether for piety or patience, nobody's sure. You spot a parchment scrap, half a love poem to a quill. Classic desk job procrastination. A nightingale trills outside, its cry tangles with the scratch of your boothiel. You pivot toward a codex splayed open like a gutted fish. Its pages breathe out monastery dust sneaky stuff. You stifle a cough. Pro tip, nasal hairs, the original air filter. The Scriptorium air hums. Can't tell if it's distant chanting or your ears ringing. Your thumb grazes a line of text. Gold leaf clings to your skin, a king's ransom in glitter. Historians still argue if Spanish scriptoria added saffron to ink just to flex their spice trade connections. You lean over a desk, furrowed by knife nicks, each groove a scribe's silent scream. Beneath it, a floorboard warped by spilled ink. Pry it up. A single chess pawn rolls into your palm, ivory worn smooth. Checkmate, medieval workaholics. Moonlight spills through a high window. It's basically nature's spotlight for drama here. Your elbow knocks a reed pen. It clatters, then silence gulps the sound whole. Pro move. Scriptoria were built to swallow secrets. And student loans, probably. That nightingale again, closer now. You press an ear to cold stone. Something thrums beneath water. Wheels, theories bubble up, quirky tidbit alert. Some claim monks rigged aqueducts under Scriptoria, just to hear gossip from the next town over. You trace a charcoal stick left on a bench, still soft. Scrawl a smiley face on your palm. It winks back, anachronistic and smug. The original emoji. Flame gutters in a lamp nearby. Its smoke curls into a question mark. Clever. 3 desks form a triangle, power stance of medieval productivity. You crouch to peer at carvings. Names, dates, a crude owl. Shift weight. Your knee pops. So much for silent contemplation. Above, rafters hold swallow nests, abandoned now. Feathers drift down like misplaced punctuation. A codex falls open to a page marred by ink blots. One looks like a fat king riding a snail. Margin humor, the medieval meme. You snort. Sound carries here. From the shadows, a creak. Probably just rats, or a very judgmental saint. Starlight fades as clouds clot the sky. You click your tongue, testing the acoustics. A bat detaches from the ceiling. Free aerial show. Your heartbeat sinks with its jagged flight until both of you remember it's past bedtime. The nightingale's note shivers through the dark. Your next exhale sinks with its tremble. Stars blink through lead-framed windows, counting down to some celestial punchline. Only monks understand. Moonlight slips through the scriptorium's leaded glass, pooling on the letter's surface. You squint at its curves. Each stroke loops like ivy choking a castle wall, a jungle of ink. Medieval cryptographers loved this stuff at twisty letters, hiding king's secrets. But this feels like a scribe's inside joke. The quill digs deep into vellum, here angry flourishes. Some monk definitely missed lunch. Roll the parchment sideways. 7 decorative curls swell along the margin, too deliberate. Crop circles for bookish types. Experts think Spain's copyists used cipherdoodles to mock their patrons. Ever seen the Voynich manuscript? Filled with plants that don't exist. This letter's cousin, probably. Your thumbnail traces a loop, dry ink flakes off. Underneath, a faint grid. Coordinates. Sudden memory. Olden monasteries hid city maps in psalters. Escape routes for spies, or really lost pilgrims. The grid's lines pulse, or is that your headlamp battery dying? You blink. Gone. A night breeze sneaks in, lifting the parchment's edge. Instinct pins it with your elbow. Too slow. The sheet drifts, lands inkside down. When you flip it, new marks glare up, 7 mirrored curls. 2 sets now. Double the riddles, classic medieval prank. Monks invented trolling. The largest flourish hooks like a shepherd's crook. You mimic its shape in dust. Matches the Asturian borage plant, symbol of obstinacy. Historians still argue whether inked flora held meanings or just kept scribes awake. A cough escapes you, echoes mockingly. Rat, wind. Let's go with wind. 3 words repeat in the text: silencio, lave, sanger. Silence, key, blood, cheerful stuff. Your fingertip hovers over sanger. The S bleeds slightly. Iron gall ink loves to creep. Downstairs, a door groans. Just the night watchman. Probably. One of the mirrored curls aligns with a candle stain, forming an L. Coincidence. You rotate the sheet. Now an X. Try not to think of treasure maps, too easy. But your pulse quickens. The grid reappears fainter. X marks a something adjacent. Cool fact: 9th century monks encrypted recipes in Bible margins. Hell. Saint Isidore's scribes wrote wine lists as psalms. Priorities. You press the parchment flat. 2 loops intersect. A tiny cicadilla emerges. Not even a real letter. Troll harder, monks. Breathe deep scent of old wax and mildew. The 7th flourish flutters. Wait, no. A moth lands there. You shoo it. The wing dust leaves a smudge, perfectly covering the curl's tip. Accident. Design. Clever girl. Nature's redactions. Your penlight dies. Moonbeams take over, blue-white and harsh. The grid glows now. Thermal imaging, medieval edition. Trace it with a charcoal nub. Lines converge below the word lave. Key. Your free hand gropes the desk's underside. Found a shallow groove shaped like footsteps clack on stone. Distant but deliberate. You freeze. The groove's edges bite your fingertips. 7 sides. Heptagon. Since when do keys have 7 sides? Quirky tidbit. Toledo's blacksmiths forged labyrinthine keys to spite locksmiths. Guild drama eternal. The footsteps fade. You exhale. Press the charcoal sketch against the groove. No match. Flip it. Closer. Wind howls through a crack. The parchment tears. Just a sliver. New symbol where the split happened. With a dash. Norse sunwheel. Or a mediocre doodle. Midnight chill nips your neck. Rub it. Ink smudges your collar. Great. Permanent accessory. Half the Scriptorium's ghosts probably sport that look. The grid's lines wiggle under moonlight optical illusion. Or sleep deprivations, a hell of a drug. Count the total flourishes again. 14 now. Original 7 plus reflections. Divide by 2, 7. Multiply by, your brain stalls. Math post-midnight should be illegal. The X from earlier winks at you. Fine, press a thumb there. Vellum resists, then gives slightly. A whisper tears through the room, not yours. The nightingale, unlikely. It's inside now. Perched on a lectern. Watching, you stare back. Berberian standoff. It cocks its head, drops a twig. Message. or avian sarcasm. The thumb-pressed spot darkens, oil seeping through. No, ink rises from below, blooming like Inktober on steroids. Words surface, subcubito, Latin, under the elbow. Check your elbow. A red mark stains the vellum, your sweat and ink. You, wait, your arm's been crushing a desk corner this whole time. Lift it. Wood worn smooth except 7 tiny notches. Heptagon again. Press them in order. The nightingale trills, a 7-note melody. Your free hand hovers. Coincidences are getting pushy. First notch click, second gritty, third squeak, fourth the nightingale hops closer, fifth notch your nail cracks, sixth stone grinds beneath the floor, seventh the entire desk shifts. Inside the leg, a compartment glints. Victory screech stifled into a cough. Inside rests a rod, 7-sided, of course. Bronze, green with age. Slots into the vellum's grid. Fit the X over a circular stain. Rotate. The parchment whispers as it splits, peeling into layers. Hidden text underneath. 6 words. Encaintrilo donned los rios besan. Find it where the rivers kiss. Rivers. Maps. That groove under the desk, now a drawer. Inside, a scrap of cloth, embroidered with 2 intersecting threads. Confluence. The nightingale's beak clacks. Agreement. Mockery. Either way, dawn's first blush stains the windows. Time's up. Art Dan Brown. The nightingale's clack still hangs in the air when indigo fabric brushes your shoulder. You jerk back, staring up at a figure robed in midnight blue. Sleeves stained blotchy purple, those aren't dyes. That's ink, real monastic chic. Their face hides in shadow, classic mysterious librarian vibes. Not all scrolls sleep, they rasp. Voice like parchment dragged over gravel. Dry quill in hand, they point east. The gesture costs them. Joints crackle like kindling. You glance at the scrap in your palm, 2 embroidered rivers meeting. The librarian's quill trembles. Follow crease lines where scripts drown. Cryptic. Fine. Let's add prophet to their LinkedIn. They slump onto a stool, wood groaning. A purple-smeared ledger plops onto the desk. Ever seen a brick-sized book? Medieval Twitter. Scribes recorded everything, grain shipments, heresies, who stole Brother Greg's sandals. Your fingers twitch toward the cloth map. The librarian slams a palm over it. Cold fact. Andalusia's libraries hoarded Roman aqueduct blueprints. Useful during sieges. Thread leads to water, they mutter. Water to truth. Their quill scratches the desk, etching a symbol, 3 crescents stacked. Islamic Spain's mark for underground rivers. Historians still argue whether those maps led to treasure or just better plumbing. A moth dive bombs your ear. You swat, smacking the ledger open. Pages flutter. Margins crammed with tiny drawings. Knights fighting snails. Cats in monk habits. Monks had meme game. The librarian hisses, tucks the book away. Quill jabs eastward again. Persistent. Through the archway, shadows yawn deeper. Air smells of wet stone and mint, unnerving combo. They lean close, reeking of oak gall and vinegar. Ink-making essentials. Quirky bit. Some scribes swore walnut husks brewed better black. Left hands permanently stained. Call it occupational hazard or goth manicure. Beware the third step, they croak. It groans like a sinner's conscience. Your boot hovers over the threshold. You've seen Indiana Jones. Traps exist. But this, probably just bad carpentry. Onward. Flagstones chill through your soles. The archway's keystone bears that triple crescent symbol, chipped but defiant. Touch it. Dust cascades. Your thumb comes away glittering. Mica or crushed glass. DIY medieval alarm system. 1 step silence. 2 a creak. 3 the stone wails you freeze. Distant shuffling answers. Rats. Guard. Disgruntled scribe. The ceiling looms lower here, claustrophobia's lair. Shadows press in, thick as velvet. Eastward bends the hall. Moth flutters ahead, emerging as your unlikely guide. Pale wings catch stray moonbeams. Cute until it lands on a wall sconce revealing skeletal fingers clasping the iron. Just a statue, mostly. Its stone eyes follow you. Standard haunted library decor. The moth nibbles lichen off its thumb. Room service, demonic addition. Wind howls, extinguishing your candle. Again. Miffed, maybe. The walls themselves glow now, faint bioluminescent moss. Nature's nightlight. Your fingers graze it. Cold, slimy. Wipe vigorously on your tunic. Ahead a fork. Left tunnel slopes down, right ascends. The cloth maps, threads gleam, pull left. Third step groans louder here. The ceiling drips. Water, please be water. Bats erupt from the darkness, squeaking fury. You duck. One snags your hair. Badge of honor. Medieval explorers probably logged this crap daily. Bat attack, 2 stars. Bring a hat. The corridor spills into a circular chamber, walls honeycombed with scroll niches. Some sealed with wax, others crumbling open. A writing desk dominates the center, quill still lodged in an ink pot. Approach. The seats warm, not creepy at all. Scrolls here bear red wax tabs, urgent missives, love letters, grocery lists, translation, buy more sheepskin, dukes a cheapess. Your map trembles. The embroidered threads squirm spider leg style. Drop it. The cloth levitates, twirls, and slaps against the eastern wall. Okay, magic carpet gone minimal. Behind the tapestry, a hollow. Shelves stacked with tiny vials. Cobalt glass stoppered with wax. Snake one free. Liquid inside sloshes, silver as mercury. The labels script curls, voces perdidas. Lost voices. Shake it, the fluid glows. Through the glass, faint screaming. Historians would murder for this. Literally, Alfonso X's court once executed a man for stealing singing ink. The vial warms your palm. Drink it. Dump it. The librarian's warning floats back. Not all scrolls sleep. You pocket it. Future use problem. Moth zooms into the hollow lands on a hidden latch. Press. A shelf pivots, revealing a descending spiral stair. Dank air wafts up. Hello, secret basement. Your boots hover at the top. Chamber of unspoken vows, the librarian had rasped. Great naming sense. The steps spiral tighter, walls slick with algae. 18th century scholars found similar stairs in Seville, leading to a cistern full of banned poetry. The moth zips ahead, its glow dying in the throat of darkness. You grasp the vial. Voces perdidas hums against your thigh. Somewhere below, a sound like pages turning in a hurricane. Above, a bell tolls. Once, twice. The librarian's dry voice drifts down. Dawn comes. Your foot meets the first step. Stone bites cold through leather. The scrolls rustle, awake, alive, annoyed. Stone bites harder with each step. 17 down, 18, 19. You lose count, where algae devours numbers. Myrrh hangs thick, cloying sweetness cut by mildew. Remember that expired cinnamon candle. Same vibe. Worse. The vial hums, voces perdidas restless in your pocket. Moth wings flutter ahead, dim strobe in the black. Your shin grazes something cold. Squint, iron rings jut from the wall, medieval handrails, or anchor points. Optimism's dead here. Air shifts, damp becomes arid. The stairs end. Your boot grinds grit, torchlight. No bioluminescent beetles swarm the vaulted ceiling. Jakarta's upscale districts pay millions for worse ambience. Inkwells line every surface, clay, silver, obsidian. Sealed with wax stamped by kings. Alfonso, III's cross of Ferdinand's lions, the personal crest of a queen historians swear had 9 toes. Touch one, it's warm. Recoil. Sworn to secrecy wasn't metaphor. Scribes mixed oaths into ink, animal blood, crushed sapphires, honey as preservative. Quirky twist. Honey made words sticky in listeners' minds. Medieval sticky notes. You crouch by a leading pot. Its wax seal crumbles at your breath. Oops. Smoke curls up, taking shape. A face, gaunt, eyes ashed over. It mouths 3 words. Lips char at the edges. The vial vibrates. Voces perdidas sloshes toward the specter. Draft a Yelp review. Haunted inkwell 2/5 stars. Ambience great, service hostile. The smoke face fragments. Ash motes swirl into a phrase above the desk. Break what kings bound. Historians still argue whether such warnings were curses or invitations. Your dagger's tip hesitates over another seal. Cool move if you ignore every horror movie ever. The moth lands on your wrist. Smarter than you, frankly. Gilded drawers flank the desk. One handle dangles, brass shaped like a hanged man's noose. Inside, vellum strips tied with hair. Blonde, red, silver, royal DNA era. Unfurl one. Script squirms, Arabic, Latin, Hebrew layered. Squint, a betrothal oath or treason plot. Depends who's translating. Contracts back then had teeth. Literally. Some were written on sheepskin chewed by lawyers. A beetle detaches from the ceiling. lands on the page. Its glowing belly reveals hidden text. 6 barrels of Momsey wine to the Sultan's scribe. Bribes age better than milk. The central inkwell beckons, crystal, veined with gold, unsealed. Dip a finger. Liquid slides off like quicksilver. Odd it's dry. Wait, your skin's now dusted in ink. Powdered lead. Rubbing spreads it. Gray blooms up your forearm. Ah, invisible ink. Clever. 16th century spies used lemon juice. Fancy ones used urine. Hold your arm near a beetle's glow. Letters surface. Cut the third belt or rope. Specific. Relevant. Who knows? You're basically a postman for dead conspirators. Shadows thicken. The moth flees. Beetles dim one by one, classic horror pacing. Your breath fogs. Cold fact. Underground scriptoriums stayed chilled to preserve parchment. Meet lockers for knowledge. A inkpot shatters behind you. Viscera of centuries-old ink seeps across stone, black tendrils alive, but lazy. Texas oil spill vibes. Time to go. You grab a silver inkwell, pocketing history. Bad idea. The floor trembles, sentries awake, or maybe the tower ropes were load-bearing. Oops. Above, the librarian's bell tolls again. Final warning. The spiraling stairs look steeper ascending. The vial warms, screams soften to whispers. They sound like your voice. Future use problem now. The stairs repay your haste. A crumbled edge sends shale, skittering into darkness. That'll haunt someone's crypt naps. Your palm smears gray. Where the invisible ink clings, dermatologists would riot. Floor tiles shift, underfoot too regular. Kneel. Brush grit from grooves. One stone bears a chipped fleur-de-lis. Pry it up, nails be damned. Beneath, singed parchment, edges blackened like burned toast. 42 words, 16 charred, beyond rescue. The intact ones snag your eye. By ash and oath, child of the Nile, denied 3 drops to wake the queen. Always a queen. Never a straightforward grocer's list. Hold it sideways. The singed gaps form a silhouette. A crown, a noose. Historians still argue whether such damage was accidental or the first censorship. Your dagger's pommel grinds charcoal letters. Bad idea. The fragment crumbles. Whoops. A beetle crawls from the rift. Its glow resuscitates, ghost text between lines. Mixing moonlight with beetle shells. Practical advice or recipe. 16th century scribes doodled cocktail notes in margins. Found one last year with a ketchup recipe. The vial protests. Voces perdidas fizzes against its cork. Unscrew it. A drop hits the parchment. Ink boils, rearranges, settles as a woman's portrait. Eyes fierce, hair braided with quills. You've seen that nose in Tudor portraits. She mouths words silent, but your molars vibrate. Find the press beneath the syllable crisps away. Classic. Ever tried texting a ghost? Same energy. Ash drifts upward, defying physics and dignity. Follow it. A wall sconce hangs crooked. Pull. Masonry groans. Behind it, a compartment the size of a human heart, nestled inside a wax doll, stabbed with 13 pins, not voodoo, poppet magic, common in medieval courts. Quirky fact: Anne Boleyn allegedly buried one to miscarry a rival's baby. This doll's face, unmistakable, resembles the smoky inkwell specter. Co-workers got messy back then. The poppet's chest holds a slip of vellum. "Forgive me, Isabella," burned at the edges. Your turn to apologize, crushing it while prying out the note. Smooth the creases. A prayer or confession. Forced the scribe's hand, the Egyptian king's envoy knows. Egypt. Again, obsession ran deep. Tudor nobles once powdered mummies as party drugs. Priorities. Footsteps echo above, too heavy for beetles. The librarian's cane. The hanged man from the drawer. Your breath fogs the doll's face. Wax melts, revealing iron filings beneath. Someone wanted her to rust. The fragment's edge pricks your thumb. Blood blossoms, a drop hits the poppet. The wall compartment slams shut. Your pinky escapes by a miracle. Nail polish, chipped, priorities again. Back to the parchment queen. Her visible words taunt. Cannot trust the mirror's lie, mirror. Right. That freaky doppelganger from section 11 owes you answers. But contract says stay on script. Focus, 3 tiles east where the queen's ash drifted. Kneel, scratch mortar with your dagger. A brick loosens, behind it another scroll. This one wrapped in hairnet threads. Gold, gray, braided, unfurl. A sketch of the Scriptorium with X's over 3 spots. You've looted 2 already. The third, marked at the beltor, where the rope clue pointed. Connectivity rewards the obsessive. The vial's liquid sloshes, urgency or indigestion, drip some on the map. Ink migrates, forming new X's. Of course, moving targets. Ever play whack-a-mole with a haunted cartographer? Footsteps again closer. Grit your teeth. Time to fold the queen into your pocket, right next to the vial's muttering. Her plea weighs nothing until it does. The lantern beetle's dim shift change. In the half-light, the poppet's iron filings glint. They spell a word. Run. Solid advice. Always. You take the stairs 2 at a time, dodging crumbled steps. The map crinkles like laughter in your pocket. Somewhere behind, wax melts, and a doll's hollow eyes track your escape. Beltor air tastes of rusted chains and pigeon grudges. Your boots kick up gold leaf flakes. They stick like gilded dandruff. Historians still argue whether Egyptian envoys carried real treaties or just really persuasive gift baskets. The answer's in your palm. A pharaoh's cartouche pressed into wax older than your bloodline. Scorch marks web the walls. Someone really hated this message. You squint. Hieroglyphs swim beneath soot. A horned viper symbol, here a sickle moon there. Royal Mail didn't mess around. Cleopatra once sent Caesar a self-inking stylus, medieval Amazon at its finest. The scroll case resists. Cedar resin sealed it for eternity. Or until your dagger pries it open. Inside, Papyrus whispers secrets in demotic script. Your high school Latin laughs from the grave. 3 chariots of lapis, lazuli 20 jars, of honeyed wine, 1 scribe's, tongue severed for insolence. Charming. TripAdvisor reviews for the afterlife must have been brutal. Gold leaf clings to your thumb, rubs off on a sketched pyramid. The ink flares neon blue. Oh good. Animated instructions. The lines crawl, forming a dotted path through the scriptorium's lower vaults. Follow the shimmer, tripping over a loose tile. Forbidden. Footsteps echo behind you, too rhythmic for rats. The envoy's ghost. Some over-caffeinated monk. Doesn't matter. You sprint past alcoves stacked with amphory. One's labeled Ramses II's embalming reserve, 46 BCE. Do not serve chilled. A hidden alcove yawns, its entrance carved with feather motifs. Mad's scales hover above the lintel. Justice or karma depends who's getting judged. Inside, a ledger lies open. Columns tally tribute paid to a serpent king. Quirky tidbit, ancient Memphis had a yearly festival of forgetting where tax records got ritually burned. Convenient, your dagger's tip traces a line of numerals. 17 chests of Nubian gold 8 musicians. 1 drugged lion, the last entry's ink blots, suspiciously paw-shaped. The scroll grows warm. You drop it, wisdom over curiosity. Papyrus unfurls like a startled cat. Glyphs rearrange, now a map of the Nile Delta. Memphis winks at you via an inked oasis. Blink, it's Alexandria. 3rd century GPS had attitude. A bead of sweat hits the parchment. The ink hisses, releases myrrh fumes. Your sinuses clear. Your brain buzzes. 4th dynasty aromatherapy hits different. Voices murmur above to eavesdrop or bolt. You press against cold stone. The envoy's seal was broken, hisses someone. Summon the hemnetcher. Silence, then retreating footsteps. Whatever a hemnetcher is, it sounds like a running is wise scenario. The map quivers, demands attention. A single glyph pulses, an ankh merged with a quill. You trace it. Stone grates. The floor tile sinks, revealing a necklace. Obsidian beads. Falcon pendant. It's worn alarmingly so. Fasten it anyway. The world tilts. Walls bleed hieratic script. Now everything's a love letter to Thoth. Your headache returns sharp, insistent. You stumble into a side chamber. Gold leaf snow drifts from the ceiling. Sneeze. It sticks to your lashes, chic and impractical. The envoy's shadow looms on the wall, crook and flail crossed like swords. Decode the scroll or become interior decor. Priorities. Half the text's eaten by beetles. The rest taunts. Kepesh blade at high noon false tombs for true heirs. Sunset stains the window crimson. The bell tower chimes 6 or 60 times getting creative here. The necklace's heat intensifies. You yank it off, toss it onto a mosaic. Tiles melt. A compartment rises, holding a coal jar. Label. Cleopatra VII, smoky eye reserve. Use sparingly. Apply some. Bad idea. Do it anyway. The mirror across the room shimmers. Your reflection wears a Neme's headdress. She mouths, "Lower Egypt weeps." You reply, "Not my mess." The glass cracks. Fair. Footsteps return closer. The necklaces now a puddle of liquid obsidian. You pocket the jar sticky, but cursed artifacts trump hygiene. Exit stage left. The envoy's scroll crumbles, save 3 glyphs. Memorize them. Stumble into the corridor. Behind you, gold leaf ignites, burning like pharaoh-shaped matches. Smoke forms a crown, then dissolves. The past's great at dramatic exits. A hidden stair coils downward. Your map insists it's there. Your knees disagree. You descend. Somewhere above, a door splinters. Let the Hemnetcher deal with interior design duty. Wind howls through arrow slits, carries burnt honey and panic. The vial in your pocket gurgles, helpful. You sprint past a tapestry of drowning scribes. Career advice: avoid Nile notaries. The stairs dead end at a copper door. Patina eats the edges. 7 locks, each shaped like a cursive hieroglyph. Your stolen necklace fits the Eye of Horus keyhole. Is this theft or archaeology? Semantics. Turn it. Hinges scream, waking every bat in Valencia. Inside, papyrus mountains under a painted cosmos. The envoy's treasure. Knowledge. Dusty, unstable, irresistible. Your reflection watches from a gilded mirror, still crowned. She points to a cedar box. Inhale. Open it. A single scroll survives, edges nibbled, sealed with a scarab. Breaking the wax feels sacrilege or Tuesday. Inside, a birth record. Prince Amenhotep, stillborn 4th hour of the rest, is ash. Histories full of deleted drafts. Gold leaf clings to your sleeve as you retreat, ancient glitter. The corridor stretches. The door slams. Somewhere, a pharaoh's ghost files a complaint in triplicate. Noise fades. The map in your pocket rustles approval or indigestion. You lean against cold stone. Count breaths. 10, 20, 30. The Scriptorium holds its own. Your dagger scrapes the wall, leaves a mark for the next fool. A single word survived, with a doodle of the coal jar. Priorities, always. Your thumb slips, the letter's edge bites skin. A ruby bead wells up. It shouldn't match the ink, but does. 17th century scribes mixed ox blood with oak gall for permanence. Learned that in a dubious documentary. You watch crimson seep into vellum. The stain spreads, forming a tentacled Rorschach. The bleeding letter tremors. You drop it, wise move. Words blur, languages cycling through Coptic, Latin, Mozarabic. One phrase stabilizes. Imperial concubines, 3rd confession. Historians still argue whether Byzantine inks contained menstrual blood for binding truths. Lab tests remain inconclusive. Your nose wrinkles, no comment. Dust motes float through a sunbeam, now blocking your exit. The Scriptorium's playing games again. Crouch. Examine the page. Iron-rich ink glints rust, and pomegranate twang in the air. Blotted with your sleeve. Mistake. The fabric stiffens, mummy wrap vibes. A droplet rolls off the vellum, hits floor tiles. They sizzle, backpedal fast. 3 stones liquefy, a mini MT. Vesuvius situation. Quirky tidbit. Monks reportedly spiked communion wine with volcanic ash for vigor. You're not volunteering to test that. The confession reshapes. Sworn to silence by the emperor's own alchemist to 30 jars of unwatered wine. A sword buried where 2 hanged men face east, cryptic airbimp directions, basically. Breeze gusts from nowhere. Play along. Flip the page. Bigger mistake. Symbols vine up your arms, ink under skin. They pulse harmless so far. Your pulse copies their rhythm. Coercive cardio. Sniff the parchment, charcoal, and fermented grapes. Also lychee, 9th century Persian. Inks used fruit extracts to deter silverfish. This batch deters sanity. Blink hard. The scriptorium's ceiling ripples, arabesques swapping places. Focus. Wax pools at the desks. Edge ancient candle, long dead. Touch it. Fingertips fuse to the blob. Yank free, skin stays behind. No pain, no blood, just absent. This is why OSHA avoids archives. The confession's margins squirm, added recently, says your gut. 7 knights took oath here. Their bones mortar the western tower. Tap the sentence. Heat blooms. A brick glows across the room. Opportunistic arson. Steps ascend somewhere, stone on stone. Recent friends returning. Doubtful. The ink blot on your sleeve grows teeth. Metaphorically. Probably. You torch the confession with the dying candle. Pages curl, scream. Fire shouldn't sound disappointed. Ash settles into a map. Breath too loud. Blow gently. Soot flecks form a cloister layout. X marks the wine cellar. The Pope's secret stash won't loot itself. A shadow darts behind papyrus stacks. Gleaming eyes follow feral amber. Scholars grimalkin. Demon familiar. No collar, so free game. Toss a drachma. It bats the coin, irony clinks. Floorboards creak, tempo accelerating. Humidity spikes. The air's laced with violet perfume. Empress Theodora's signature scent. If Byzantine tabloids hold truth. God help you. The fused fingertip reappears, floating midair. Reattach it. Nerve endings scream. Teeth clench. Note. Self-repair beats, ibuprofen any era. Distant bells toll, 13. Moonlight bleeds through cracks, too green. Lunar eclipse, alchemical accident. Just Spain being Spain. Squint. The wine cellar X glows brighter. Priorities. Loot first, existential dread second. Dodge a falling codices, they shriek mid-plunge. Catch one. It purrs, annotated bestiary of imaginary beasts, page 13 dog-eared. Flattering. Shelve it. The cellar door looms, iron-bound, spiderless, suspicious. Lock resists. Order your cat friend to hack it. She yawns. Try the blood-inked fingertip. Perfect key. Coincidence? Never. Barrels line the walls, labeled vaguely. Harvest of the Comet, 1264. Brother Marcus. Last lament, 40 proof. Historians would raid this place with sippy cups. The X glows beneath your soles. Pry up the flagstone. A casket rests in wet earth. Engraved, Rashid al-Din's forbidden syllables. Smash the lock. Inside, scrolls wrapped in lambskin. Unroll one. Miniature paintings flicker, crusaders playing backgammon with gin. Another depicts monks bottling starlight. The third, a woman writing with a bone stylus. Her text mirrors yours. Dirt trickles from above. Time's up. Grab the clearest scroll treatise on subtextual oaths. Shove others down your tunic. The casket seals itself. Hasty retreat. Your stolen page vibrates, ink migrating to the treatise. A drop of your blood merges with ancient wine stains. The combined blot forms a crown. Yours. Someone else's. Irrelevant. Run. Stairs vanish mid-step. Grab the banister. It's now a marble arm. Shake it off. Reach the cloister. Dawn licks the horizon streaks of watered wine. The treatise burns cold against your ribs. Its title shifts. How to Forget in 11 languages. Tempting. You smell figs and betrayal. Fused fingertip twitches, autonomous now. It scribbles on a pillar. Beware the Chancellor's 14th cup. Solid advice. Carve it deeper. A mosaic saint watches, eyes tracking you. Flip him a drachma. He catches it, stiff joints creaking. The Scriptorium's pension plan is trash. Sunrise. Heat melts the blood ink bonds. Your sleeve sags, normalcy returning. Mostly. The cat's got the bestiary now. Fair trade. Exhale. Your breath swirls the dust into a new sentence. Continue southeast. Around here, even the air's a backseat driver. The crease becomes a canyon beneath your boots. Moonlight turns folded parchment into sandstone cliffs. Your breath fogs the air, or is that the letter itself exhaling? Southeast, the dust said. You sidestep a smudge, pretending to be a ravine. Maps lie, especially ones that smell of quince paste and betrayal. Here's the thing, medieval cartographers drew dragons in uncharted regions, safety feature or creative flair. You're leaning toward malpractice insurance. The canyon walls narrow veins of lapis lazuli pulse where ink once dried. Glide a finger along the stone. It sings, a low Gregorian hum. Tour guides don't mention this part. Moonlight pools ahead, silver liquid rippling over a dry riverbed. Crouch. Dip your fused fingertip static sparks. The air tastes of iron and myrrh. 9th century navigators chewed myrrh resin to stay alert. You're regretting that granola bar now. The crease forks. Left, right. The letter offers no legend. Kick a pebble, it rolls left. Follow it, heroes in folktales always ignore omens. Mistake. The ground convulses, buckling into origami peaks. Claw at the shifting rock. A fingernail tears. Pains back, guess the Scriptorium's anesthetic wore off. At the summit, wind unravels your scarf. Threads spelling southeast in Morse code. Could just texted you. Unfold the crumpled letter, now a topo map. Elevation lines squirm like nematodes. Focus, where two blue veins converge there. A phantom delta. Caravans once vanished there chasing Zerzura, the phantom oasis. Historians still debate its coordinates. The moon bleeds cerulean. Shadows stretch, elongated hands point downhill. Slide on shale, a controlled fall. Pebbles shred your knees. First aid tip, swallow dignity, keep moving. At the delta, silence drowns even your pulse. The crease glows, bioluminescent suture stitching land to sky. Touch it. The world flips, gravity drunk. You're standing no, clinging to the underside of the map. Stars swirl below. Feet sink into constellations. Double check. Yes, this breaks physics. No, the letter cares. A wolf made of quill shavings paces nearby. It growls, a sound like pages tearing. Toss a pebble. The wolf coughs up an oak gall. Play fetch with history's rejects. Silver trees sprout bare branches arching into runes. Their fruit, alphabet fragments. Pluck an AE. It dissolves on your tongue, flavor of oversteeped tea and regret. Blink, and the orchard's gone. Scriptorium magic has commitment issues. Follow the crease uphill. Your shadow lags spooked. At the ridge, moonlight sharpens into a lance. It impales a glyph-carved arch below the two rivers' meeting point. Also a door. Obviously, sidestep thorned vines that hiss Provençal profanities. Reach the arch. Its keystones missing, gap shaped like your fused fingertip. Offer it up. The stone accepts your donation. Hungry click. Portal air prickles with ozone and deja vu. Step through. The canyon refolds behind you, crunch of celestial origami. You're in a long gallery, walls papered with star charts. Constellations squabble in marginalia. Orion stole Cassiopeia's belt. A footnote screeches. Ignore it. Focus on the vaulted ceiling. It's the letter itself, expanded to cathedral scale. Words drip like melted wax. Swear by the ink that binds flesh to memory. A desk floats midair, quill nibs scratching autonomously. Its parchment births miniature storms. Tornadoes swirl over Kansas. Buffalo stampede through Cairo. The pen ignores your cough. Clear your throat louder. It halts suspicious. Grab the page. Static shocks numb your teeth. Text rearranges. Turn back before the 11th syllable. Too late. The desk dissolves. You free fall through layers of vellum, each sheet a different century. 1914. Pass through a love letter mid-composition. 1348. A will signing becomes your crash pad. Land in 802 AD, straw-covered scriptorium floor. A monk glares his tonsure, suspiciously perfect. You're early, he mutters. Flip him off with your fused hand. Classy, the room melts, chasing you upstream. Swim through corridors of drying parchment. Kick off a treatise on beekeeping. Grab a dangling initial, a gilded Q. It anchors you until it coughs, and lets go. Slam into the present, our present. Knees meeting cold marble. Your lungs burn. The crease lies before you dim now. Dawn approaches. Moonlight retreats. The fused fingertip twitches in your pocket. Autopsy required later. Unfold the letter. Most text has migrated to your skin, wrists inked with psalms. The crease remains a scar across the page. Footsteps echo the librarians. No time. Fold the map, counter origami style. Mountain becomes valley. Rivers invert, the crease vanishes. A single sentence lingers. Two truths, one bald-faced lie. Find the key. Pocket the damning evidence. Walls constrict Scriptorium, ejecting trespassers. Sprint east. Your shadow lags again, sulking. 3 hawks circle outside, each trailing a scroll. One dives. Snatch its cargo. Unfurled, it's your grocery list from 2021. Priorities: milk, bullets, forget-me-nots. Cryptic even then, the crease's scar glows through your pocket. Itching, always itching. So begins the next hunt. 3 strikes hum through your sternum, the Scriptorium's beltor, flexing its bronze lungs. Your heels skid on marble as time stutters, each chime stretching like taffy. Medieval monks measured canonical hours by such bells. This one's broken curfew. Count backward 12, 13, 14 steps, pulse sinking with the fading resonance. A mosaic cracks beneath your boots, tesserae skittering like scared beetles. You taste pennies. Bell metal's tang, or maybe that's blood from biting your cheek. Toss a glance upward. The tower's shadow bends, a sundial drunk on its own power. 4th stair from the exit sprouts lichen neon green and suspiciously fuzzy. Sidestep it. Rumor says one Scriptorium groundskeeper brewed hallucinogens from tower moss. His trial transcripts. Lost. Convenient. Air thickens, smell of wet lead and desperation. The doors yawn 30 paces ahead. Their hinges creak a dirge in D minor. Haunting. Overdone. Someone's been binge-watching Gothic soap operas. 19 steps left. Your fused fingertip throbs. Morse code for hurry. Slap the wall for balance. Stone flakes off, exposing a brick stamped Alfonso V. 1432. Mainstream history credits him with expanding Aragonese libraries. Also, dude collected exotic parrots. Priorities. 8 steps. The bell tolls again, illegally. Sound waves ripple your sleeves. Time bleeds, seconds pooling like candle wax. A stained glass saint winks. You flip him a copper coin from your pocket. Budget offerings matter. 3 steps. The doors groan, starting their closure. Dive. Roll through the narrowing gap, elbow scraping iron hinges. Welcome to arthritis at 20-something. Silence. Dawn leaks through the Scriptorium's keyhole, streaking the lobby with honeyed light. The librarian materializes, holding a vial of something iridescent. For forgetting, they croon manicured nails tapping the glass. Or remembering. Their sleeves rustle untouched by the century's grime. You freeze. Behind, the Scriptorium locks itself with a click final as a guillotine. Your shadow peels off the wall, skitters into the cloisters. Traitor. The vial glints, contents swirling like trapped storm clouds. 9th-century alchemists swore mercury could preserve memories. They also died frothing. Hard pass. Pocket it anyway. The librarian's smirk says you'll reconsider. Sunrise ignites the eastern windows, geometric fire. Your breath fogs the vial. Inside, a face flickers, not yours. A woman's ink-stained fingers, eyes older than the Pyrenees. She mouths words that itch your molars. Gravel crunches underfoot, each step a vote. Head north toward the city's clatter. Or south, where the letter's scar glows through your coat. The vial warms, or maybe that's your liver failing. Somewhere, a nightingale shrieks Scriptorium loyalist or chaotic neutral. Unclear, your stomach growls. The granola bar from 6 centuries ago isn't cutting it. Wind plucks at the vial, sings through its neck. Drink me, it trills, voice suspiciously reminiscent of your ex. You unscrew the cap, odor hits rotten plums and salvation. The woman in the vapor leans closer. A crow swoops, snatches the vial midair. It caws 3 times before vanishing. The Scriptorium's wrath, or a feathered intervention. Your fingernails dig crescents into your palms. Choices, choices. Sunlight solidifies the path ahead, cobblestones gleaming like piano keys. Play the right notes, and maybe the letter's curse lifts. Misstep, and well, at least the lichen looked friendly. The bell tower chimes once more, a postscript. Your bones hum in harmony. Time to move. South it is. South it is. The corridor bends, walls narrowing like a throat. You're spit into a circular chamber, your breath bouncing off domed ceilings. At its center stands a mirror, frame choked by gilt serpents. Their scales flake onto the floor golden dandruff. 14th century craftsmen slathered mirrors with mercury and tin. Toxic brilliance. You'd expect no less here. Your reflection wavers, then dissolves. A woman materializes, palms stained midnight blue, hair knotted with quills. She presses her inky fingers to the glass. The surface ripples, cold seeps through. Historians still argue whether medieval scribes used walnut oil to dissolve envy. Her glare suggests a darker recipe. The mirror's edge bites your wrist, nick blooming crimson. Your blood beads, suspended like rubies on glass. 16th century apothecaries claimed menstrual blood could erase lies from parchment. You're fresh out. The woman mouths 3 syllables. Your spine tingles, a piano dragged down a staircase. Skip the charades, you mutter. I'm bilingual in passive aggression. The mirror fogs. She etches letters with a fingertip. Maria, the name smokes, then vanishes. A Franciscan nun once confessed to forging 27 wills under that name. Coincidence? Unlikely. You lean closer. Her ink stains match yours, same crooked pinky, same scar snaking the wrist. Family reunion or a fractal curse. The glass warps, her face becomes yours. Not a reflection, a usurpation. Your left eye now pupilless. Silvered, terrifying. An antiques dealer in Toulouse swore gilded mirrors stored souls like wine. He vanished mid-sales pitch. You cough, opting for denial. Ever tried micellar water for those stains? The woman slams her palm. The mirror cracks, sound of 1,000 snapped harp strings. Shards hover each fragment, replaying a memory not yours. A quill stabbing a king's neck. A scroll burning in reverse. Blood dripping into an inkwell. You've seen this film. It ends with peasants and pitchforks. A shard grazes your cheek. It whispers, "Find the well." You swipe at it, fingers passing through vapor. Middle Ages safety standards were flexible. Her image fractures, a puzzle missing edges. You pocket a glinting sliver. Bad decisions make great souvenirs. The remaining glass turns liquid, swirling like molten lead. It solidifies into text. She walks the creases, reference to the letter's map, probably. The floor quakes. Stone tiles flip, revealing rusted nails beneath. Time to exit. You kick the mirror's frame, serpents hiss. One sheds its gold skin, revealing worm-eaten oak. You could have guessed. Dust motes swirl, forming a corridor where the wall once stood. The woman's laughter follows, dry as vellum. Product of mercury fumes, you tell yourself, swatting cobwebs. The lie falters, your stolen shard burns, but that's a problem for future you. Somewhere, a bell chimes 2 octaves too high. You hum along, off-key. The Scriptorium's theatrics need a composer, or a Xanax. Light bleeds from a head, thin and gray. You step into it, shivering. The mirror's ice still clings to your ribs. Dawn's irrelevant here, time's resigned. You pat your coat. The letter remains, and something else. A hair, jet black and coarse, tangled around the mirror shard. Tug it. The strand tightens, leading back toward the chamber. You drop it, watch the hair slither away. Note to self, don't touch haunted crafts. The walls here sweat ink. You skim a finger through sludge. It writes turn back in Lombardic script. You add a mustache. The ink hisses. A door materializes, wood rotten, knob mossy. It creaks open, revealing a desk stacked with scrolls. Your stolen shard vibrates, Geiger counter for trouble. Maria's reflection flickers in its surface, mouthing the same syllables. Felix, Felix, Felix. You swallow a laugh. Real helpful, Casper. A scroll unfurls, blank except for a single word, remember. The shard's edge glows white hot. You drop it, stamp out embers on your boot. Future you owes an apology. The strand of hair writhes like a snake in holy water, vanishing through a crack in the floorboards. You half expect a Yelp review for haunted floorplan design. 1 star. Would not curse again. The desk's scrolls shiver as you approach, their dust lifting into defensive clouds. 14th century scribes sometimes mixed crushed lapis with egg whites for blue ink. The colors still vivid here. Ultramarine grudges never fade. Your stolen mirror shard hums against your thigh. Maria's fractured reflection, mouthing SSSWWWWWWhere. Subtle, you unroll the top scroll. Lamb's skin still supple. A crimson seal dangles, split down the middle. It oozes sluggish droplets warm. Gum tragacanth and oxblood. You mutter, parroting that overpriced calligraphy workshop. The seal's wax hardens instantly, snapping at your sleeve. Medieval notaries added fingernail clippings to binding oaths. Makes paperwork personal. The scroll unfurls further, thorns erupt from the vellum. One pricks your thumb, your blood smears the text. Swear by thread and thorn, or suffer the silences. Historians still debate whether the lamentation rites of 1322 involved actual bramble or just metaphorical prickliness. The splinter in your flesh suggests literalists one. Maria's shard flares, etching your palm with jagged symbols. They itch like poison ivy haikus. You scratch, smearing the lines into nonsense. First a haircut, now tattoos. Boundaries, ghost lady. A compartment clicks open beneath the desk. Inside, a bone spindle and thread glowing faintly gold. Byzantine silk, traders smuggled moth cocoons in their beards. This thread's pulse feels alive. The spindle rotates on its own, winding the strand into a noose. Candles gutter as a draft sweeps through. Your breath fogs the air, but the words materializing aren't yours. Bind it, wear it, become it. The ink squirms, avoiding direct eye contact. You've done the same at family reunions. The thorn in your thumb throbs, now blackened. 12 hours until sepsis. 3. Time's a social construct here. You snip the glowing thread with Maria's shard, it screams. High G sharp, a choir boy's nightmare. The scroll combusts, flames cold and blue. Ash settles into new words. Vows unspoken bind tighter. A 1492 trial transcript describes a nun sentenced to weave in silence for 7 years. Her tapestry supposedly predicted the Lisbon earthquake. You cough, ashing your jeans feels less prophetic. The spindle levitates, thread coiling around your wrist. Pulse points make excellent hostages. Threaten my carotid again, and we're switching to hemp. The thread loosens, smart move. Shadows congeal into a figure beside the desk, hooded, holding a pomegranate. They split it, seeds spill like roe. Eat 12, they rasp, or forfeit your tongue. The fruit bleeds onto the scroll, staining vows vermilion. Ancient Persians believed pomegranate seeds trapped lies in their juices. You pocket 3 seeds, insurance against future small talk. The thorns on the scroll writhe, spelling, coward in Gothic script. Creative, you nod. Ever tried cross-stitch? Less edgy. Maria's shard projects a flicker, a woman shrouded in thread, mouth sewn with gold. The 1636 Silent Duchess portrait follows you in every museum. Coincidence or copyright infringement? The figure points to your chest. Your ribs ache, something stirs beneath them, feathery, impatient. A gale slams the door shut, the room pressure drops. Your ears pop, the spindle's thread knots itself around the thorn in your thumb, tugging. Red blooms through the gold like sunrise. Pain clarifies. The scroll's ash rearranges. You are the contract. Maria's reflection finally smiles. Thread snakes up your arm, pulling you toward the desk. Quill in hand now. No ink needed, your thorn-pricked thumb drips freely. The parchment hisses as blood hits it. 17th century witches allegedly drafted bargains in rabbit's blood and stormwater. Yours lacks whimsy. You scrawl no, the letters combust, the quill scorches your palm. Collaborate or annihilate, the hooded figure intones, crushing pomegranate seeds into a stain shaped like Iberia. The spindle unravels, gold thread pooling around your boots. You step back into a cobweb stretching taut. Above, countless threads converge on a single thorn. Your breath hitches. The Covenant of Thorns destroyed a Burgundian monastery in 1418. Only the bell tower survived. You count 12 heartbeats, each fainter than the last. Maria's shard flashes, a memory not yours. A loom threading human hair through papyrus. A vow whispered into a scarab's husk. You grip the thorn, shove it through the thread noose. Silence, then laughter. High, unhinged. The scrolls disintegrate, their ash painting the walls with promises. Freedom and folly duel in cursive. The desk crumbles, revealing a trapdoor. A lead vial rolls toward your foot, label reads forget. The hooded figure offers a quill knife instead. You kick the vial. It shatters, liquid bubbles, releasing the scent of lilacs and burnt hair. Your choice was made when you snipped the thread. The figure's hood falls, revealing Maria's smudged features. She presses the quill knife into your hand, blade cold as a tomb's whisper. Scratch your true name here, she murmurs, voice rasping like pages turned too fast. You hesitate. Names have weight here. The wrong syllable could crack your sternum. The mirror shard warms, spelling MAR before cracking. María hisses, fading into motes of indigo dust. The desk's remnants collapse, leaving just the knife, the trapdoor, and the faint ache of gold thread around your wrist. Some oaths aren't sworn, they're inherited. You sheath the blade for now. The Scriptorium won't claim you without consent, probably. You pocket the quill knife, its hilt etched with "Oh look, more thorns." Original. The trapdoor creaks a reminder, sounds like your browser history judging you. You kneel, knees cracking like vellum, and spot a bulge under the floorboard's grime. Prying it up reveals a folio, its clasp shaped like a choking hand. Classy. Inside, a single pressed flower, petals bruise purple and still glistening. Nightshade. Italian assassins once dried its berries to decorate rival diplomats' goblets. This specimen smells alive, like vinegar and rusted hinges. The pages beneath bleed indigo wherever the flower touches. Not a metaphor, your thumb comes away stained Byzantine. 13th century, nuns allegedly preserved such blooms in their own urine. A niche hobby. The toxin seeps into the vellum, letters blistering to reveal hidden text. He deserved worse than silence. Historians still bicker whether Duchess Aliénor's 1385 demise came from poison or particularly bad oysters. The Scriptorium prefers the fun version. You lift the nightshade and the text shifts. Scratch out his name, finish what she began. A dagger doodle in the margin depicts a man with 7 chins clutching his throat. Subtleties dead here. The flower's edges writhe, trying to root into your palm. Horticulture's cancelled, you mutter, slamming the folio shut. Mistake. Purple powder puffs into your nostrils, tastes like regret and burnt time. Your sinuses stage a coup. Maria's knife warms, its blade etched with VERITAS, and what might be a hamster. Ambiguous. You scratch at the Duke's name, scabbed over with centuries of ink. The vellum screams, high-pitched, the kind that haunts dental offices. Each stroke unearths bone fragments. Someone ground a jawbone into this parchment. Recycling, medieval style. An ink blot spreads, Rorschach test for the damned. You see a hanged man. The blot sees brunch plans. We're not vibe checking, you tell it. The flower's powder now coats your teeth, filling every cavity with static. Sweetness curdles into a chant, unmaker, undream, unseam. Cistercian monks used similar hexes on overdue library books, effective until the Reformation. Moonlight through the window solidifies into a quill. It stabs downward, autographing your forearm with accomplice. Consents a thing, you hiss. The quill shrugs, ink drip body language. You snap its nib. The scream echoes, but the word remains. Venetian mirror makers once added nightshade extract to glass, believing it trapped slanderers' reflections. Your distorted face stares back, mouthing guilty, guilty, guilty. The flower crumbles, petals becoming a key. Glass or ice. It melts across your fingers, pooling into a puddle shaped like Aquitaine. Duke's territory. Convenient. The folio's pages rustle, spiteful applause. You flick wine, dregs from your flask. The liquid circles the stain's capital. It ignites, briefly revealing a woman's face in the flames. Familiar. That lopsided smirk featured in last week's forbidden manuscript shindig. Smoke forms words, burn his legacy, not his name. Too late. The keys dissolving fluid now in your veins. Cold. Your joints creak, librarian at dawn. The trapdoor yawns, inviting a swan dive into archival hell. Maria's knife hums dough, a dear off-key. You teeter on the edge as the flower's last petal dissolves into a whispered command. Pluck the Thorn King's eye. The Thorn King's eye isn't an eye, it's a brass drawer pull, tarnished to funeral black. You twist it left, right, left, the rhythm of a waltz for ghosts. The desk groans. A hidden compartment slides open. Inside, 3 treasures on velvet the color of dried blood. A rusted key. A lock of hair bound with silk. 39 silvered pins. Spanish Inquisition desks often harbored such nooks for forbidden letters or emergency communion wafers. This one reeks of rosemary and birthday cake. Time's doing squats here. The key's teeth mimic cathedral spires, gothic and pointy enough to violate OSHA. You pocket it. The hair's ribbon curls like a sleeping snake, burgundy, moth-eaten. 17th century nobles exchanged lovers' locks as engagement tokens. This one's strands shimmer silver blonde, unnatural, for pre-panting eras. Alchemists once peddled hair-lightening tonics made of mercury and pigeon bile. The scent hits roses and rot. You recoil. The pins clatter, arranging themselves into a six-pointed star. Not today, Beetlejuice, you mutter, scattering them. One pricks your thumb, a bead of blood swells. The velvet lining absorbs it hungrily. A name surfaces in the fabric's weave, Marguerite de Carcassonne. Historians still argue whether she died in the Bastille or faked her death to marry a falconer. The hair twitches, eternal bedhead. The compartment's back panel rattles. You press the bloody thumb there, air hisses. A second layer opens. A mini scroll, a dried fig, and a walnut-sized bell. The fig's stem wears a tag, Elysium verum. Poisoners' slang for cinnamon. Sneaky gourmands in Louis XIV's court used it to mask arsenic in tarts. The bell tinkles when you lift it, sound of a spoon striking absinthe glass. You freeze. Across the scriptorium, a shadow pauses listening. The scroll unfurls, 8 words in squid ink cursive. Ring twice at the liar's tomb. Bring figs. You pocket the bell. It burns like dry ice against your hip. The key throbs in rhythm, Morse code for hurry up or IBS flare. Hard to tell. Moonlight slants through a high window, illuminating the walnut shell. You crack it. Inside, a portrait the size of a euro coin. Your face, but styled in a rough collar, smirking like you just stole the crown jewels. Tudor miniaturists sometimes painted spies, likenesses inside nutshells. Messenger pigeons carried them undetected. Your doppelganger winks. Cryptic much. The bell rings itself, 2 sharp chimes. Your ligaments lock. The desk drawer slams shut, taking your sleeve's cufflink. A fair trade. From the compartment's depth, a new scent rises, fresh parchment and burning sage. Folios reshuffle on distant shelves. A cold breath down your neck whispers. The hair braids it all. The silvered pins heat, scorching the velvet. You snatch them. 39 stabs of regret. Medieval scribes pinned curse notes to heretics' doors with identical spikes, each engraved with a saint's name upside down. These bare numbers. 17 reads XIV 22IX. A math problem or body count. The key vibrates, demanding use. You scan the scriptorium. 79 desks. 79 drawers. 1 objective. The hair levitates, guiding you toward the northeastern alcove. It halts at a desk, missing a drawer pull. Coincidence? The Vatican says no. You insert the key. It sticks. 3 drops of blood later yours. Obviously, the lock surrenders. Inside, a lead box. Its latch, 2 clasped hands. Yours tremble. The box opens. A sulfur stink erupts, centuries of bad decisions preserved. Inside, a finger bone, a sapphire ring, and a glass vial labeled for Marguerite. The bone wears a tattooed tiny anchor. Sailors in Naples inked anchors after surviving shipwrecks. This one's blue lapis lazuli crushed into pigment. The vial's liquid sloshes, glows greener than Gwyneth Paltrow's smoothies. You uncork it. The Scriptorium's candle flames stretch toward the scent, cannabis resin and elderflower. Inquisition transcripts mention a verdant elixir that loosened prisoners' tongues and sometimes their bowels. You recork it. The ring fits your pinky, cold as grave soil. Its sapphire winks. You wink back. Camaraderie. Probably manipulation. Across the room, the bell rings again, impatient. The key disintegrates. Rust dust piles at your feet. The hair bursts into blue flame. Ashes, spelling avenue or AVENG, ambiguities, the Scriptorium's love language. The pins rattle in your pocket, counting down. You toss the fig into the air. It combusts mid-arc. A map flares in the smoke, roads converging at a garden fountain. The fountain's statue lacks a finger. Ring any bells. The drawer's velvet lining peels itself free, wrapping around your wrist like a bandage. It tightens. Velvet's touch turns icy, frost patterns forming. You shake it off. It floats toward the exit. A breadcrumb trail made of upholstery. Moonlight fades, dawns a threat here. The vial's glow intensifies, the only light left. You drip one drop onto the finger bone. Its tattoo migrates, inking itself onto your palm. The anchor drags across skin, drawing blood. It stops at your lifeline, branding a date, 14 Juillet, 1789, Bastille Day. The Scriptorium's version of a sticky note. The bell tinkles a third time. You spin, ring aimed like a pistol. The shadow from earlier solidifies into the librarian. Their hood falls back, revealing Marguerite's portrait face. Same smirk, same silver blonde hair. They pluck a pin from your pocket, stabs their own thumb. No blood. Late, they hiss, voice of rustling mortgage papers. The drawer compartment slams open again. Inside, a new item, a chess piece, ivory queen. Her crown set with your stolen cufflink. Checkmate vibes. She points to the vial. Drink or drain, either way, the garden's gates won't wait. The velvety bandage snakes up your arm, constricting. Choices, choices. The queen's eyes follow you, painted irises tracking like security cameras. You pocket her too. Team building exercise. Dawn's first ray pierces the window, its scalpel sharp. The lead box seals itself, bone and elixir gone. Only the tattoo remains, throbbing in time with the bells. You follow the velvet scrap into the quarry. The velvet scrap leads you into a crypt's throat, walls quilted with tapestries older than Versailles. Your fingertips brush threadbare scenes, nights, shipwrecks, a woman drowning in ink. Medieval weavers often hid heresies in plain sight. See the hunt of the unicorn's sneaky phallus carved into a tree. These tapestries hum, or maybe that's your fillings. One panel depicts you crouched at that desk with the poisoned fig. The woven you glances up, sighs like a bored cashier. Threads snag your sleeve, dye stinking of fermented walnuts. Restoration efforts in the 1800s used urine to set colors. This you know. A moth flutters from the fabric's edge. Its wings spell MENE, MENETEKEL in mothball script. You swat it. Mistake. 1,000 needles prick your palm. The tapestry's retaliation. The central loom towers ahead, haunches draped in cobwebs. Its shuttle glides alone, weaving ivory thread into your bootprint from section 7. Fatalisms, so literal here, the machine creaks, a lullaby for control freaks. Historians still argue whether the Bayeux Tapestry was propaganda or a royal stitch-and-bitch project. This loom's agenda's clearer. Trap your choices in cross-stitch. You tug a thread labeled chalice of stolen words. The tapestry's lips purse, a seam rips. The crypt floods with whispers, not how the pattern goes. The air thickens, molasses and burnt hair. Your stolen key glows, emergency, exit vibe. A side loom hoards discarded scenes, piles of snipped threads. Here's your 5th birthday party if you choked on a Lego. Here's Napoleon as a florist. Fringe archivists insist some tapestries predict alternate timelines. You pocket a thread labeled Duke of Burgundy's cheese incident, souvenir, or future leverage. The main loom hisses. Its newest panel shows tonight, your silhouette fleeing dawn. The path beneath your feet pulses, midnight blue. Ottoman dyers used crushed murex shells for that exact shade, a hue so costly only sultans could afford socks. Your woven self trips on a route. Helpful. You press the librarian's vial to the tapestry. The blue threads shrivel, reweaving into a bridge or gallows. 2/3 of a chance ain't bad. The loom groans, wood splintering. Time to exit stage left. The velvet tugs you onward into a corridor lined with unfinished scenes. A half-stitched lion gnaws its own tail. A queen mid-coronation, headless, till the weaver returns. Moonlight bleeds through a high window, slicing the path ahead. The vial's glow dies. The tattooed anchor throbs. 14 Juillet 1789. The Bastille's ghosts RSVP'd. Behind, the loom's rhythm accelerates, needles clattering like falling coins. You sprint, threads lasso your ankle. You crash, chin scraping stone. The tapestry's edge flutters, depicting this fall in real time. Fourth wall humors, overrated. The silvered pins spill from your pocket, embedding in the weave. Saintly numbers blaze, XIVIX. The tapestry recoils. You crawl free, leg cabled with crimson thread. The loom shrieks, a sound felt in molars. Ahead, the Scriptorium's oak door. Locked, the key's rust dust lingers in your pocket. You spit blood and futility. The vial's residue smears the keyhole, green gunk sizzling. The door opens into a brick wall. Classic Scriptorium prank. The velvet scrap twitches, slithering through a mouse hole. You're no mouse, but desperation's a great motivator. Squeeze through, rotten wood biting your ribs. The crawl space stinks of censored poetry. Emerging, you face the garden fountain, dry, cracked, fingerless statue intact. The tapestry's midnight blue path ends here. The vial warms, promising answers or hives. Distant chimes dawn's executioners. You unscrew the vial. The liquid inside shimmers persuasive. You hesitate. The tattoo burns, bastille dates, searing flesh. The fountain's statue's stump drips red now. Coincidence? The Vatican says ask the tapestry. You chug the elixir. The elixir hits like a tax audit, sudden and metallic. Your tongue's a dried, quill-scratching parchment. Goblets for sacred ink, common in medieval Spain, though most used bull horns. This one's bone-white, femurish. Scholars still fight over whether the saint's tibia chalices held wine or scribal, LSD. The goblet warms, engraved names swimming into focus. Ink tastes like vengeance, claims one. Tastes like a hangover, disputes another. Their voices layer arguments fossilized in sediment. A 13th century monk scribbles corrections in the air. His quill dissolves into midges. You sip, the dust becomes a roaring parliament. Charlemagne's ink was mixed with mercury. Lies he used walnut soot and spite. A crusader's love letter overlaps a papal bull. Fringe theorists swear certain inks contained mummy powder, because why not reuse the dead? You cough, gray particles spiral. Regret. The chalice's base sprouts hairline cracks. Saint Jerome glowers from its side, index finger raised. Only iron gall ink lasts, he thunders. Fish glues for heretics. But your teeth feel full of static, the debate's static. 3 monks materialize, robes moth-eaten, fingers ink bruised. They pinch your sleeves. Jansen's third theorem were those scribal errors or intentional omissions. One hisses. Their breath smells of vellum and envy. The floor tiles now show palimpsests, older texts bleeding through. A recipe for crocodile dung sunscreen, valid historical practice. Egyptian pharmacists swore by it. The words squirm, rewriting themselves into stock tips and limericks. Your stolen key vibrates, harmonizing with the chaos. A scribe wearing Coptic tattoos snatches it. See, the Muratorian fragment's true author. You lunge, elbow passing through his sternum. Saintly ink offers no refunds. The chalice overflows, black ooze births barnacles. They calcify into letters, gamma nu letter 1 ff6 theta iota, sigma epsilon alpha epsilon tau omicron u. Know thyself. Or maybe it's ancient takeout orders. Hard to focus. Dawn's first light bleeds through stained glass, splitting the room into warring colors. The whispers congeal into one sentence. Return what you stole from Section 9. Your pockets lighter, the Duke of Burgundy's cheese threads gone. The chalice shatters. Shards crawl toward the eastern arch Apis bulls now, charging. You grab a fragment, edges singing Gregorian chants. Your palm bleeds freely. Sacramental rust. Silence falls like a guillotine blade. The Scriptorium's desk reappears, inkwell capped, quill snapped. Only your shaky breath remains, and the taste somewhere between communion wine and forgery. The Egyptian king's missive disintegrates in your grip, papyrus edges, flaking like sunburned skin. Your left clutching 3 syllables, carved glyphs, humming against your palm. Historians still squabble whether rulers dictated their edicts or just stamped prescribed scrolls. Your tongue forms the sounds, Kepri Sudek, and the air curdles. A hot wind punches through the arrow slit, nearly spills your last candle. It reeks of natron salt and myrrh plus burnt hair. Mummification odors, textbook stuff, though fringe bloggers claim sniffing them unlocks past lives. Your sinuses vote no. The syllables ignite, float midair like desert embers. They rearrange a cartouche, a shopping list. Hard to tell when ancient Egyptian punctuations, basically bird tracks. A speckled ibis feather drifts down, lashed to an apologetic note. Borrowed for watermark verification. P. Leiden Papyrus 344. You pocket it. The KOKORO 82M documentation never mentioned avian repossession. Stone shelves ripple, papyrus scrolls, unspooling like accusatory tongues. One slaps your ankle. It's a tax record: 14 cows, 3 goats, 1 lightly used chariot, no wheels. Standard New Kingdom bureaucracy. But the ink, iridescent, sticky. You dab a finger, honey sweet. Experts think they mixed it with bee vomit to preserve contracts. Your nails now glued to the scroll. The 3 glyphs pulse, casting overlapping shadows. One resembles a scarab pushing the sun. Another, a duck holding a knife. Classic Ptolemaic drama. A voice rasps from the shadows. Sutenhotep's curse demands restitution. You spin, finding only a dusty broom. Either haunted or the Scriptorium's janitorial staff needs a raise. Your hand brushes a codex. Its title glows. 1001. Ways Pharaohs terribly died. Page 719. Ramses III, assassinated via toenail clippings. Historians still argue whether harem conspiracies involved actual pedicures. You regret not majoring in accounting. The syllables swell, light searing your retinas. Wind howls louder. And then silence. A single date palm frond lands at your feet. The attached memo's water damaged, but 2 words remain: help and PTO. Ancient unions had no chill. The ibis feather twitches, stabs the frond. It combusts, revealing a golden scarab. Its wings were projecting a hologram. The Egyptian king's seal rotates, 3 cobras devouring their tails. A label flickers. Return before lunch shift. You lob the scarab at the nearest shelf. It ricochets into an amphora. Clay shards erupt, along with 57 linen-wrapped shrew mummies. Pest control, First Dynasty style. The scarabs now embedded in the wall sparking. A hieroglyphic error message flashes. Rough translation. Why are you like this? The syllables dim, their hum fading to a librarian's shush. From the wreckage, a limestone chip skitters toward you. Etched on its surface, a ibis doodle captioned T.G.I. Osiris. Even scribes needed happy hour. Dawn light seeps through cracked plaster. The wind dies, leaving grit in your teeth and existential questions. You spit out a shred of papyrus. It reads, next time, use parchment. 2,000 years later, still judgmental, the envelope's wax seal shimmers, now liquid silver, as your thumb hovers above it. Time thickens. The drip-drip of melting candle wax suspends midair. You blink, those droplets hang like jellyfish, defying gravity and basic physics. Hourglasses became medieval Europe's go-to clock. But this is time turned cataract. Your breath fogs, except the cloud doesn't dissipate. It lingers, a frozen comma between seconds. The scriptorium's stone walls blur, edges bleeding into the void. Only the envelope stays crisp, its yellowed vellum humming an F-sharp. Historians still debate if Byzantines used musical notation in diplomacy. Your left pinky vibrates in confirmation. A draft stirs, or tries to. Air moves like cold syrup, each molecule fighting to part. The envelope levitates, seal first toward your chest. You recoil, but your body's syrup now too. 300 years of royal correspondence courses didn't cover time molasses. The seal cracks with a sound like snapping spider silk. Inside, not paper, a glass vial. No, an hourglass. Except the bulbs hold no sand, just 2 commas of quicksilver. They shiver as if nervous. You shake it. The mercury screams silently. Air pressure drops, your ears pop. A scroll unfurls itself on the desk empty. Ink oozes up from the wood grain, forming words you feel more than read. Temporal surcharge applied for unlicensed chronostases. A fee notice. Classic Fatimid administration. You laugh. The sound arrives 3 seconds late. Light bends, curling around the hourglass like vines. Someone's breathing down your neck. You turn slow as a sundial to find a shadow wearing your face. Appointments require RSVPs. It drawls. Its lips don't match the words. The hourglass tips. Mercury spills upward. Drops arc toward the ceiling, each dragging a comet's tail of dust. One splats against a rafter, blooming into a map of 12th century Cairo. Streets labeled in cursive Latin. Because why not? A crow quill materializes, stabs your forearm. No pain, just a tickle as it scribbles on your skin. Bearer owes 14 minutes, 33 seconds. Compound interest applies. The ink's sour, medieval ink recipes often used fermented oak galls. Your epidermis just became a ledger. The envelope flutters, insistent. You reach, fingers sinking into its surface like wet clay, cold spreads of frost flowering in your veins. 14 letters materialize inside the glass, each a flickering flame. Burning through time or recording it, scholars lose tenure over less. Your stolen minutes manifest as flies, zinc blue wings buzzing Baroque concertos. They swarm the hourglass and dissolve. Each crunch sounds like a smashed clock. The shadow twin applauds, a slow clap, unraveling into static. Light fractures, prism bursts etching the walls. One beam catches the edge of a codex, tax evasion tactics of the Knights Templar. Pages riffle themselves. A pressed Narcissus falls out, its scent triggering déjà vu. or actual vu. Time's menus are confusing. The mercury commas merge a liquid, a Ouroboros circling the vial's neck. Temperature plummets, your exhale crystallizes into a scroll fragment. For emergencies, break glass. You consider it, but the vial's now lodged in your sternum. Personal effects insurance won't cover this. Dawnlight pierces a high window, only to freeze midair. Golden filaments hang celestial cobwebs. The shadow twin plucks one, and it twangs like a lute string. Anachronisms piling up. Your fault for skimming the notary public of time's terms of service. The envelope decays, edges fraying into fractals. Each thread hums a different century's pitch. Your teeth buzz. The hourglass implodes, mercury pooling in your palm. Cold fire. It seeps into your lifeline and stops. Silence. Absolute. The scriptorium's back dust, motes parked mid-drift. Your shadows alone again, no twins, no debt collectors. The envelope lies dormant, seal restored. But beneath your thumb, a new pulse. Steady, relentless. The heartbeat you'd mistaken for your own. The snapped quill winks at you, its fractured nib catching frozen dawnlight. Swan feathers were Renaissance Europe's premium writing tool. Though most scribes settled for goose, you pluck it from the ash, a carbonized Rorschach blot staining your palm. Blow gently. Soot spirals, coalescing into words midair. My dearest poison, a love letter, or a royal hit job. Historians still bicker over Lucrezia Borgia's actual kill count. The ash reshapes. Tonight's fig tart hides more than cloves. Clever. Assassination via dessert was a Medici specialty, allegedly. Your stomach growls traitorously. The quill's shaft splits, revealing a hollow chamber. Inside, 3 obsidian needles. Renaissance spycraft loved hidden compartments and plausible deniability. One prick could drop a duke or cure his gout. Apothecaries moonlighted as hitmen back then. Occupational hazard. A draft stirs, ash words scatter. You lunge, smoothing them on the desktop. Vowels smear, Rigi becomes regret. Conjugation matters. The first ink recipe using crushed mummy's surfaces in your mind, darkly on brand for the Borgias. Mummy brown pigment, history's most macabre art supply. A soot particle lands on your tongue. Burnt swan, tastes like overbrewed chamomile. The remaining ash reshuffles, kiss the blade for absolution. Mixed messages. Literally, 15th century Venetian censors used lemon juice to obscure treason. Heat revealed the truth. You exhale hot breath. Ash letters curl into new shapes. Her laughter haunts the cistern, candlelight flickers. Shadows dance across the sentence. Cistern assassinations were an Ottoman specialty, weights tied to the ankles. Splash echoing up stone wells. Your boots feel heavier. The quill's shadow stabs the wall, pointing to an iron latch behind a tapestry. Hidden doors, the IKEA furniture of medieval intrigue. A gnawed fingernail yours clicks the latch. The panel creaks open, smell of rust and rosewater. Inside, a moth-eaten stomacher, jeweled pins spell Katerina in Morse code 2 centuries early. Time slippage shows zero quality control. The stomacher's stitching pricks your thumb. Blood beads plops onto the ash letter. Crimson blooms rewriting poison as poem. Semantics pivot. A tear stains the vellum, yours or the author's. Scholars lose sleep over whether the Borgias' love letters were metaphors or grocery lists. Wind howls, ash scatters for good. The quill disintegrates, obsidian needles now just graphite dust, but the stomacher's embroidery glows, threads rearranging into coordinates. 43 degrees N, 12 degrees E. Urbino, a dual site, a truffle hotspot. Renaissance problems require modern GPS. Dawn unfreezes, lightning fast. Your shadow stretches normal again, no twin, no time debts. Only the stomacher winks, jewels blinking semaphore. You pocket it and taste chamomile for a week. You approach the well, its mossy stones, exhaling the chill of buried centuries. Lowering the bucket feels like dropping a question into the dark. Chains scream, rusty lungs protesting. Heavy retrieval systems were medieval tech's specialty. When not dumping chamber pots on invaders, the bucket emerges dripping sludge that reeks of fermented ink. Sodden scrolls slump inside, parchment blisters blooming like wet tissue. 16th century scribes sometimes hid documents in wells during sieges. Along with hope and dysentery, you unroll a scrap, ink long dissolved into Rorschach specters. A murmur rises, not from the scroll, but below your collarbone. You press a palm to your chest. The stomacher's jewels hum. Catarina Sforza once sewn poison into her gowns, paranoia as fashion statement. This embroidery vibrates differently, Morse code or arrhythmia. Damp words materialize on your forearm. Tread lightly. Too late, your boot sole tears through a scroll. A papal bull disintegrates, excommunicating someone named Pietro. Historians still feud over whether lost archives drowned intentionally or rotted from neglect. Another scroll clings to your fingers, a manifesto on pickle preservation. Margins host doodles of particularly smug turnips. Quill pricks in the vellum spell liar when held to moonlight. You snort, even medieval grocery lists shaded people. The well gurgles, a wet chuckle. Your lantern reveals carvings on the inner walls. Not saints or serpents, itemized taxes. 1492's tithes included 17 goats and a mermaid skeleton. Accountants dream in spreadsheets, even underwater. A scroll fragment floats up, Latin curse, half legible. May your inkwells breed flies, standard scribe hex. But the footnote grips you, a recipe for truth serum ink. Ingredients: bat tears, crushed sapphires, and the sigh of a repenting heretic. Pharmacist's back then dabbled in creative fiction. You lean closer, chain links snag your sleeve. The stomacher's pins jab warning. Too late, the well exhales a cough of spores. Your vision blurs. Suddenly your nose to vellum with a love letter to a staircase. O winding marvel of oak and nails, Architects got thirsty too, apparently. A droplet hits your neck, thick as syrup. The ceiling sweats ink or blood. Hard to tell in this lighting. You wipe it, smell confirms iron gall. Same stuff that poisoned half the Vatican's calligraphers. Occupational psoriasis incoming. The bucket jerks, something tugs from below. You release it, watch chains vanish into the dark. Distant splash, count to 17. It resurfaces, now cradling a wax-sealed jar. Inside, a severed hand. Index finger calloused from quills. Nail etched with tiny hedgehogs. The stomacher vibrates, jewels hot enough to brand skin. You drop the jar. It shatters, a squeak erupts. Not a hand, a desiccated ferret in a lace glove. Renaissance taxidermy hits different. The finger uncurls, revealing a copper key taped beneath. Teamwork makes the scheme work. Dawn infiltrates through high windows. The Wells whispers retreating. You pocket the key. Somewhere above, a nightingale mocks your mildew stench. The stomacher's glow fades, though your ribs thrum for hours, like carrying a beehive, if bees traded venom for gossip. The last scroll disintegrates as you lift it, ashes forming a sentence midair. Burn this. Message received. Too bad it's been 30% legible since 1512. You kick the bucket, literally, and walk away. Let tomorrow's scholars handle the fungal pneumonia. The key burns through your pocket, still fragrant, with ferret musk. You halt before a wall where shadows pool unnaturally. One brick protrudes, crooked tooth in the Scriptorium's grin. Press it. Dust showers your boots as a door grinds open. Medieval architects loved these devil's molars, hidden passages for panic, affairs, or impromptu parchment raids. Cold air escapes, smelling of damp wool and unresolved arguments. Your lantern reveals a staircase spiraling upward. Each step groans underfoot like a bored scholar. You count 11, 12, 13, until a landing halts you. Another door. No handle. Just 7 iron nails hammered in a drunkard's constellation. The librarian's whisper resurfaces. Rhythm unlocks what force cannot. You knock once. The sound dies flat. 5 raps follow. Nothing. 7. A low growl shudders through the wood. Right clerics once used knock codes to outwit book thieves. Get it wrong. And rumor says Duke Federigo's ghost recites tax records until you weep. 3 quick taps, pinky vibrating from the impact. Silence. Then 2 slower thuds. The door exhales, clicking open a hair's width. Peering through, you spot a study frozen in 1527. A quill levitates over parchment, writing with no hand to guide it. Ink splatters the ceiling in Rorschach blots. One resembles your Aunt Marguerite, uncanny and upsetting. You step in. The door slams, its frame melting into seamless stone, trapped with haunted stationery. The floating quill jabs toward a ledger on the desk. Open it. Pages flip themselves, stopping on an entry. Item, 1 soul, lightly used. Debt owed, 11 years of midnight copying. Paolo Uccello's ghost supposedly did his perspective studies here. But math wasn't his strong suit. A drawer rattles. Inside 3 walnuts, a mummified swallow, and a note. Knock or starve. Historians still bicker whether Renaissance prisoners really communicated through nutshells or just really liked snacks. You pocket a walnut, crunch later, interrogate now. The quill whirls, stabbing toward a frescoed wall. 3 figures gesture obscenely. Or maybe they're dancing. Art historians argue this daily. You knock where their feet meet, 3 short, 1 long. Stone grinds. A compartment opens, revealing a ledger marked overdue tomes. Names spill down margins, some crossed out in what looks like blood. Your finger trails the list, stops at C. Colombo, 1492. Fees for how to sail sideways. The quill stabs the page, ink blooming into a tiny galleon. It sails toward the edge, capsizing in a coffee stain. A bell tolls once, twice. The Scriptorium hates tardiness. You turn to leave, but the door's gone. Only a tapestry remains, depicting your current predicament. Meta. The quill taps a carved lion's head on the desk. Knock here twice. Jaw creaks open. Inside, a key labeled borrower's remorse. 9 chimes now deep enough to vibrate your molars. You press the key into the tapestry's woven keyhole. Twist, threads unravel, until a real door appears. The quill snaps, spent. Exit now or become part of the Daker. The corridor beyond stinks of extinguished candles and poor life choices. Behind, stone reseals with a sigh. Somewhere, Duke Federigo drones on about tariffs, voice fading as you escape upward. Lesson learned. Always skip the 13th step. The corridor's cold seeps into your bones, like that winter you tried ice swimming near Krakow. Remember, only this chill smells of lampblack and almond milk. Your lantern gutters, flame shrinking from the parchment clutched in your grip. Unfold it slowly. The wax seal cracks, sound of a tiny spine snapping. Midnight blue ink swims across the page, letters pooling, spreading, blotting out words. A stain blooms, swallowing syllables like a ravenous moon. You tilt the page, but the darkness spirals inward, an eclipse devouring its own tail. Funny how Renaissance stargazers mapped these very patterns, their telescopes trained on secrets darker than ink. Lamplight pierces the page. Sudden reversal, the blackened center now glows amber. Constellations rearrange. Virgo's elbow nudges Orion's bow. A mountain range emerges, jagged peaks stitched with minuscule text. Valley of Two Kings, it says, or maybe Vale of Thief's Breath. Medieval scribes loved their puns. Your thumb brushes a glyph, warm as fresh bread. It underlines beneath the bull's left horn. Scholars still fistfight over which Iberian peak that describes. You lean closer, squinting, when a drop of sweat hits the parchment. The ink hisses, steam curls upward, smelling of burnt time. Oops. 3 raps echo behind you, the same rhythm that opened Duke Federigo's vault. Ignore it. Focus on the map. There, a zigzag line crosses a river labeled Lethe's forgotten cousin. Quills scratch your periphery. Not the cursed one again. A bookshelf to your right holds leather-bound temptations on the humors of scorpions, how to embalm a hat. You pull a crumbling volume, Lunar Deceptions by A. Falsario. His portrait glares, all eyebrows and disapproval. The book flops open to a chapter titled When Maps Lie. Helpful. Between lines about magnetic ink and falsified coastlines, a pressed flower crumbles. Its label, aconitum, grown in the shadow of gallows. Cheery. You sneeze, dust motes swirl into a miniature storm. Through the haze, the map's peaks seem to shift, north becoming south. Classic cartographer prank. The lamp sputters. Shadows leap, forming a cloaked figure by the window. Just your reflection. Relax. Or is it? That smudge on your cheek wasn't there before, right? You rub it. The figure mimics you, half a heartbeat slower. Medieval silvered glass. They never show the full truth. Back to the letter. The eclipsed center pulses now, a slow, inky heartbeat. Press your palm against it. Cold seeps through muscle memory of gripping a sword hilt. The bull's horn splits into two paths. One labeled wealth, the other truth. Historians still argue whether 15th century treasure maps ever led to anything but dysentery. A moth lands on wealth, wings powdering the word. It shudders, then disintegrates. The remaining path glows faintly. Truth it is. How noble. Behind you, a drawer slides open, untouched for centuries. Inside, a rusted compass, its needle spinning freely. North is everywhere and nowhere. You pocket it, can't hurt. The quill scratches louder. Glance back, it's etching something onto the floorboards. Leave now, charming. The map's edges begin to curl, black veins spreading toward your fingers. Time to go. Fold the parchment once, twice, thrice. It fights you, edges sharp as blade ends. Finally, it submits. Tuck it into your tunic. The compass needle jabs your ribs, persistent. That's when you notice the window. Moonlight slices through, cutting the room in half. Your reflection hasn't moved. It stands frozen, holding a dagger you don't own. You step left, it steps right. The glass fogs breath you didn't exhale writes soon in the condensation. 9 bells toll deep, bone-rattling peals. The Scriptorium's doors seal at dawn. You bolt past toppled inkwells and a snoozing ferret. The map warms against your chest, a slow burn. Somewhere, a bull lows, or maybe it's your stomach. The corridor narrows, walls pressing like jealous lovers. You squeeze through as stone grazes your elbows. Ahead, a sliver of gray light. Almost dawn, almost free. The compass needle jerks upward, insisting on a detour. Typical, the compass digs deeper, a persistent beetle gnawing your ribs. You unearth the folded parchment, edges stained by 3 substances. Dried wine, candle wax, and something that glistens like anger. Peeling it open, a sourceless breeze lifts the page horizontal. Your breath hitches this close. The ink smells of bergamot and grief. Exhale slowly, just like blowing dust from an olden coin. The page trembles. Faint lines bloom white-hot, 3 vows etched in breath steam. Never reveal the well's song. Never love a shadow. Never trust the king's barber. Tudor courtiers actually survived on those rules. Did you know razors often poisoned rivals? Quirky Bit, Anne Boleyn allegedly shaved her spaniel with a ceremonial dagger. One vow pales, fading faster than others. Lies rot quicker than truths, they say. Or maybe spit degrades rabbit glue bindings. Historians still bicker whether invisible Renaissance inks were wizardry or just lemon juice. The remaining glyphs constrict, a noose of syllables. Your reflection watches from a puddle, thankfully dagger-free now. North, the compass jerks sideways toward a tapestry depicting frogs playing lutes. Lift the wool stone wall behind. Press your ear, a tickle of moving air. Or maybe mildew whispering gossip. The second exhale comes involuntarily. More steam glyphs, another trio. Accept the vial. Refuse the vault. Burn the last word blackens eaten by mildew. Frustrating. You kick the wall, a hollow thunk answers. Scrape mortar with a thumbnail bitter as unripe persimmon. A brick loosens. Behind it, a ceramic jar stoppered with human hair. Bonus. Inside, 3 scrolls and a wolf's tooth. Unravel the smallest scroll. Memorize and eat it, orders pulpy sacrifice of words. The ink tastes of dead lavender. Your third breath fogs the page violently. Final glyphs bleed through numbers this time. 17, 98, 3. Maybe battle dates, coordinates, calories in a fig tart. Renaissance codebreakers loved math puzzles when not dying of the clap. The compass vibrates, needle pointing at your throat. Pillar to your left has a suspicious dent. Press it, a hidden alcove sighs open. Inside, a desk stacked with envelopes identical to yours. All unopened, all addressed in your hand. Footsteps approach slow, patient, wearing soft shoes. But nobody's there. A trapdoor. No, the sound comes from the ceiling. A maple seed spirals down winged and stubborn. Catch it smooth as a child's cheek. Carved into the shell, burn them all. The compass needle snaps off, clatters into darkness. So much for loyalty. The remaining vows flicker fainter now. Make the breaths count. Inhale rotten apples. Exhale 31 seconds. The steam spells forgive her before dissolving. Her who? The librarian. That girl from Antwerp. Your first grade teacher. A drip hits your neck. Look up, a crack in the ceiling weeps reddish liquid. Ink or blood. Sniff metallic sweetness. Iron gall concoction. They used ox blood for waterproofing maps. Some monks mistake, still leaching through stone. The floor tilts. You stagger into a brazier, ashes exploding upward. Among the cinders, a half-melted ring. Fit it on your pinky, engraved initials JT, someone's tragic engagement. Jane Talbot, John Talbot, or just a jester's toy. The remaining vow glows time for truth, steadiest breath yet lungs burning. Steam carves a single glyph that keeps rewriting itself. Live, lie, leave. The page crisps at the edges, disintegrating. Catch a fragment, it stings like nettles. Beside you, the original letter folds itself, creases a line into an arrow pointing toward your own chest. Cold spreads, nostrils frosting. Choices crystallize. Swear to silence. Swear to vengeance. Swear to forget. 3 floorboards creak a chromatic scale D minor, if you had to guess. Air pressure shifts, ears popping. Somewhere distant, a woman laughs. The same laugh as your reflection. You'll never know. One vow remains, a trembling line. Touch it, skin blistering, so truth burns after all. Or maybe that's just lie in the paper. The compass shard grows hot, a warning. Dawn approaches. Decide. A nightingale crashes through the window alive, panicked. It circles twice, drops a scrap of vellum. Forgive me, same as the steam glyph. Then it dies at your feet, tiny claws curled. Time. You kneel, letter against your lips. One final breath, this one laced with cedar resin and exhaustion. The glyphs flare, then vanish, but the warmth stays, nestled beneath your sternum. Resolve, regret, indigestion. The eastern window pales. Stone grinds, seals tightening. You pocket the dead bird, unplanned, instinctive. That vial feels heavier now. So does your tongue. Last glance at the alcove, envelopes murmuring secrets. Walk away. Or grab one. The compass needle, now embedded in your boot, twitches south. The compass shard digs into your heel, a spiteful reminder of South's pull. You limp toward a warped oak desk, its surface scarred by a century of quills. There, a dried ink blot stains the corner of your pilfered letter. At first glance, a hanged man swaying, but tilt the page, and the noose becomes a jester's hat, sly grin, mocking the crowned heads embroidered on your sleeve. Medieval scribes loved these accidents, turned spills into dragons or saints' halos. Yours prefers satire. Blow on the blot, it shimmers greenish. Malachite ink, or poison meant for a duke's tea. Either way, it's talking now. Kings rise, kings rot. The jester's inky mouth seems to croon. You half expect a tiny lute solo. Fold the parchment diagonally. The hanged man's legs kick upward. Become a capering fool mid-jig. Fold it again, now a bull trampling a crown. Historians still argue whether these blots held meaning, or just medieval interns covering their tracks. A drip of sweat hits the page. The bull bleeds into a weeping willow. Your neck prickles. Is someone watching? Nope, just that tapestry of frogs you passed earlier. Their lutes glint in the guttering candlelight. One frog's painted eye follows you. Ignore it, they're amphibians, not spies. Probably. The jester reforms, arms outstretched toward a hidden sentence. Sovereignty is a riddle only fools solve. It whispers. Or maybe that's the wind through a cracked casement. Your thumbnail traces the words. They indent like old scars. Renaissance playwrights hid treasonous limericks this way, scraped the surface, and the real script emerged. Too bad you left your penknife in the crypt. A nib snaps underfoot may be a sign. Wet it with wine-stained spit, crude but effective. Scratch at the jester's chest. Varnish flakes away, revealing tiny numerals. 11, 53, 89. Prime numbers, or a locker combo. The frog choir tapestry ripples 3 notes out of tune. Coincidence? Since when? The ink blot's edges curl, beckoning you closer. Smell it, acidic, with a tang of fermented oak galls. They boiled those with rust to make iron gall ink. Nasty process. One monk's journal complained it humbles the nose as God humbles the proud. Amen to that. Your elbow knocks over a salt cellar, grains scatter into a vague map. Bohemia, your childhood village. Either way, it's dinner for the ants now. The compass shard vibrates, south becoming southeast. Make up your mind, metal. A drop of candle wax hits the jester's face. Now he's crying molten tears. Wipe it, the paper tears slightly. Beneath, a different handwriting. She birthed twins in the tower, it seethes. Tudor gossip, or pure fantasy. Someone's midnight confession etched into the vellum. Legend claims Pope Joan once drew a jester in the Vatican ledger to mock a cardinal. Hogwash, sure, but the image sticks. You underline tower 3 times, the ink flares gold. Alchemy or clever forgery, your call. The salt grains shudder, forming a tiny gallows. Cute. Another fold, the jester's now a horned figure. Not ideal. Unfold hastily, it's just a willow again. Breath held, you flatten the page. Too late, the ink blots doubled in size. Thick tendrils creep toward your fingers. Snatch your hand back, wise move. The candle dies, wick drowned. Only moonlight now silver on the jester's grin. From this angle, he's winking. A gust slams shutters, papers fly like panicked doves. Grab your letter, it fights like a live thing. In the struggle, your thumb smears the blot, it's definitely moving. Squint, countless tiny gestures cartwheel along the margins. Mocking bow, mocking curtsy, mocking backflip over the word treason. Through the chaos, a clear phrase surfaces. The fool HOLDS, the key. Groundbreaking. Original. Also written in what smells like elderberry wine. You've got purple lip stains to prove it. Footsteps echo, but it's just your pulse in your ears. Calm down. Since when do prophecies come with performance art? The jesters coalesce into a single figure pointing at the dying candle. Under it, a loose floorboard. Pry it up, a rusted key glints. 7 teeth, 3 wards, smells of gingerbread. Weirder things live under scriptorium floors. The key fits no visible lock, but your compass shard glows when they touch. Souvenir or skeleton key, flip a mental coin. Somewhere a bell tolls, once, twice. On the 3rd strike, the jesters freeze. Their grins fade as ink drains downward. The hanged man returns, but now he's you. The scriptorium dims, wick after wick, drowning in its own wax. You pocket the letter, its parchment, suddenly weightless. Then heavy, now shifting like sand in an hourglass. Candle stubs hiss complaints, smell of burning pig fat and crushed rosemary. Your fingertips find 3 fresh blisters, payment for handling tonight's truths. Those Renaissance scribes used pounce powder to dry ink, ground cuttlefish bones mixed with ash. Feel it now, gritty residue clinging to the letter's folds. The rusted key digs into your palm, its gingerbread scent gone sour. Press it against your stolen compass, both humming a discordant tune. Third shelf from the ceiling, 18 manuscripts lean left. Push them, a hidden compartment, whispers open width of 2 fingers. Inside, a desiccated sponge soaked in vinegar. Monks kept these in desk drawers, blotted mistakes before the ink set. You squeeze it, brown liquid drips a caramel. Ink, absolutely worth a taste test. Nope, fermented honey and regret. The letter writhes, its edges curling like burning contracts. Historians still argue whether scribes spiked pigments with urine for richer blues. Smell the evidence, ammonia sharpness beneath the malachite. Classy. Moonlight bleeds through cracks, turns the jester's grin skeletal. Fold the page once more, he becomes a swan mid-flight. Fold it twice, a noose again. The compass shard vibrates, south-southeast, toward the cloisters or the wine cellar. The fool holds the key. You mutter, key now warm as fresh bread. A draught snakes through, scattering salt grains into new constellations. Cassiopeia or a donkey. Tough call at this hour. The librarian's vial rattles in your satchel, bitter liquid sloshing. Swallow it, forget everything. Or smash it, plant the shards as truths in the garden. Choices, choices. Your blistered thumb brushes the envelope, wax seal regrowing like a scab. Break it again, or let the next sucker suffer. The nightingale's gone silent. Stars blink out one by one, clicking like a bishop's rosary beads. That frog tapestry twitches, lutes plucking themselves. You bow mockingly, and the fabric stills. Amphibian opera canceled tonight. Pity. Dawn's first glow licks the eastern arches, red as a cardinal's shame. 3 minutes till the Scriptorium seals itself for another century. Less, if the sundial's feeling spiteful. The key fits nothing you've seen, but the compass needle bends toward it, magnetized by desperation or delusion. The librarian materializes, hooded silhouette, holding a candle stub. They extend a hand, not for the key, but the sponge. Trade made sponge for a whispered truth. The Egyptian king's tomb lies where the ink dries twice. They rasp, cryptic, but hey, non-disclosure agreements are eternal. Your souls crunch salt maps as you retreat. Bohemia fades. Ants carry off the last crumbs of your resolve. The letter grows lighter, feather down, then spider silk. Pocket it and feel centuries unraveling at the seams. One step across the threshold, stone grinds behind you. The Scriptorium exhales, a scent of myrrh and lost chances. Somewhere inside, a jester laughs. The vial's bitterness fades on your tongue, replaced by elderberry stains and unasked questions. Moonlight pales, streaks of dawn clawing the horizon. The The compass shard lies still finally in your hand. South-southeast waits. The letter's heartbeat flutters against your ribs, then quietens. Fool's errand complete. For now. First, sunbeams slice through the archway, molten gold pouring over the threshold. You freeze, 1 foot in dawn's glare, 1 in shadow. Stone grumbles beneath you, the scriptorium's jaw tightening. 5 heartbeats left, maybe 6. The librarian's vial glints, liquid swirling like quicksilver. Medieval apothecaries swore mercury could mirror the future, though it mostly just killed them. For forgetting, they repeat, voice rustling like a shuffled deck of tarot cards. Your tongue still burns from last night's fermented honey blunder. Scholars still feud over whether Vatican scribes drank poppy tinctures to see holy texts. The vial's aroma mocks the debate, juniper or hemlock. Either way, breakfast of champions. Dew soaks your heels, scriptorium salt crunching under retreating steps. Turn back now, and the arches seal forever. Pocket the vial, its chill seeping through leather. 23 paces to the cloister garden, where rosemary grows in apology spirals. Your satchel shifts, the letter flexing like a trapped moth. 3 blisters on your hand throb in unison, Morse code for idiot. Dawn accelerates, sunbeams now guillotine blades. The librarian's candle dies with a hiss, their silhouette dissolving into crow feathers. 1 joke left in you. At least the roof didn't collapse. Unlike that Venetian library in 23, 8 scholars buried under Latin dictionaries. Too soon. Renaissance scribes timed tasks by sunlight, copying only while rays lit their desks. You've got maybe 90 seconds before this threshold becomes a tomb entry. The vial warms, or maybe your palms sweat. Historians love arguing whether forgetting potions were just expensive wine. Crush the glass or swallow the proof. Your shadow stretches, a Giacometti figure pleading with the garden. The compass needle trembles, caught between north and nowhere. Remember the sponges. This choice won't blot clean. Crows descend black confetti against apricot sky. Their caws sink with the vial's slosh. Blink, and the scriptorium door's gone, replaced by blank wall. Moss creeps into the mortar fast as rumor. You unscrew the vial, reek of burnt time and nostalgia. Medieval types would have added ground lapis, same stone they crushed for sacred blue ink. Your throat tightens. Did the Egyptian king's scribes face this itch, quill in one hand, poison in the other? The garden gate creaks, inviting as an empty confessional. Pocket the vial. Keep the letter. Walk. Behind you, a sound like parchment sighing. Ahead, doves bickering over a crust. Dew soaks your knees. Kneeling won't help now. The blisters scab over tiny volcanoes turn dormant. Your shadow melts into the grass, free at last. Somewhere beyond the wall, a marketplace stirs. Bread ovens exhale. Donkeys protest. Life, persistent as ink stains. The vial's weight fades, or maybe you're just numb. Turn around. The scriptorium's gone, only an ivy-choked wall remains. 11 years from now, a monk will trip over these cobblestones, find a rusted key, begin again. Your fingers graze the letter, edges softened by dawn. Unfold it once, the jester grins up, noose dissolved. Fold it twice, he's dancing. The compass needle settles, pointing straight at your chest. Sunlight floods the lane. A monk's chant spirals from the chapel. You drop the empty vial into a hedge, glass kissing thorns. Let the next fool wonder. Pebbles grind beneath your boots, each crunch a verdict. The vial's ghost lingers, tongue still tasting burnt time and poor decisions. Medieval cloisters often kept beehives, holy honey for both mead and medicinal salves. You half expect a monk to pop out offering antibiotic balm. No such luck. The path splits ahead, left towards the village's fish market chorus, right into a walnut grove. Your shadow hesitates, legs splayed like a sundial stuck between heresies. 12 ants march over your left shoelace. An omen or just bad luck with crumb trails. The letter presses against your ribs, its weight halved since dawn, like it's digesting secrets. Historians still argue whether Andalusian monks trained finches to turn parchment pages during Mass. Either way, you're fresh out of birdseed. A donkey brays, same pitch as the librarian's laughter. You spin no one. Just wind rifling through olive leaves like invisible archivists. 3 crows peck at something shiny near the well. Your pocket feels lighter. Left path first, salt and sardine stink wafting up. A baker's boy gapes at you, flour-dusted fingers clutching a tray of fig-stuffed buns. Your stomach betrays you with a growl. Cursed, he asks, eyeing the satchel. You shrug, depends on the fig to cursed parchment exchange rate. Right paths quieter damp earth and crushed walnut shells underfoot. Perfect for brooding or rehearsing excuses. Yes, your holiness, I lost the Egyptian king's scroll, but I found this cool rock. Doubtful, your boothiel grinds against a clay shard, half a saint's face staring up. Parking saint statues in gardens was the medieval equivalent of lawn gnomes. Classier, though fewer pointy hats, the vial's absence throbs, phantom itch between your shoulder blades. Unbidden, the memory of charcoal-scrubbed palimpsests surfaces. Monks reused parchment like a frat boy recycles ramen packets, scrape, rewrite. Pretend the past is gone. The letter shudders, maybe indigestion. A thorn snags your sleeve, blood blooms on linen. 14th century laundry bills must been brutal. You spit on the stain. Exactly 0 historical evidence this helps. A frog croaks approval from a puddle. 16 steps into the grove. A stone bench waits beneath gnarled branches. Carved into its arm, Amor vincit, omnia accept deadlines. Faint chuckles echo, monks had dad humor before dads. The satchel slips, letter fluttering out like a clumsy dove. Its wax seals regrown a phoenix now, not the librarian's crow. Clever little curse. Cracking, it means owing someone or something a favor. Swallowing the vial meant oblivion, a clean slate. Too late for clean. Distant church bells tally the hour 9 tolls, though dawn was barely 2 beers ago. Medieval timekeeping, more vibes than precision. A bee buzzes past, golden fur glinting. Follow it. Sure, why not embrace clichés? The bee leads you to a walled garden, roses rambling over crumbling brick. Historians adore arguing whether roses in cloisters symbolized martyrdom or just smelled nice. You lean in, petals velvety as a cardinal's glove. Something glints beneath the thorns, a spoon, tarnished, engraved with non-carborundum illegitimy. Don't let the bastards grind you down. Say advice, unless you're actual parchment. Cobwebs brush your neck, could be spiders, could be the curse's fingers. Your nape prickles. Renaissance nobles believed cobwebs staunched wounds. You'd rather trust the saint-infused honey. The compass needle forgotten in your pocket stabs your thigh. North points downhill toward a creek strewn with mossy stones. Follow water. They say that in every survival guide. Monks probably had a hymn about it. A rabbit darts across the path, pauses to judge you. Its nose twitches at the letter. Not for you, bugs, you mutter. Rabbits featured in medieval marginalia, doing unholy things with snail knights. Art history's weird. The creek's whisper rises, gurgling vowels against smooth stones. You kneel, fingers skimming the water. Freezing, shockingly alive. 7 orange leaves float past, a fleet of Viking ships. Drink, tempting, but aqua fortis nearly dissolved your cousin's innards last Yuletide. Ahead, the village smithy's hammer sings, iron clang. Retreat's last call. Turn here, and you're just another traveler with a questionable satchel. Return to the Scriptorium's corpse. The letter's edges glow faintly. Uh-oh. Sun climbs your shadow, shrinks to a puddle at your feet. Noon means markets close. You'll barter curses for chorizo if you're not careful. The compass needle spins wildly over caffeinated squirrel vibes. Walnut husks crack underfoot, sweet bitter musk rising. You squint, something dangling from a branch. A key, rusted, suspended BYIS, that human hair. Nudge it, it swings like a metronome. Tick, tock. The letter's glow intensifies, now pulsing like a sickly hearth. Break the seal. Let the phoenix soar. Who needs what the librarian peddled? Convenient amnesia's overrated. But folklore's clear. Every unopened letter murdered someone, or brought plague. Or worse, tax audits. Your nail digs at the wax. It resists. A voice behind you that's not a quill. You whirl. The smithy's boy stands there, grime-smudged and holding tongs. Saw the light, he says, gesturing at the glowing satchel. We call that parchment fever. Great-granddad lost 3 toes to a moody sermon. Historians still argue whether erased texts under church floors are palimpsests or monks' doodles of donkeys in hats. The boy taps the key, it chimes. Heirloom or junk? Yes, he snorts, a sound goats would envy. South Tower's got a box missing this. Nods at the key. They say it holds the Cordoba caliph's last joke. Died laughing or choking. Depends on the translation. The letter burns now, gentle reminder that cursed objects hate indecision. You pocket the key. Trade secrets for secrets. The boy tips an imaginary hat, ambles off humming a troubadour's tune. Sunlight bleaches the path white. The creek mocks your dithering with its ceaseless flow. You sit back against an oak older than feudalism and let the compass needle shiver. North shifts. Maybe magnets get performance anxiety too. Break the seal. Moss muffles the sound, a sigh, not a crack. The phoenix unfolds wings of ink arabesques, spiraling into a map. Cities bloom in vermilion, rivers snake in lapis. Your fingertip traces the route stops at a crimson X. Turns out X marks the spot where choice ends and consequences throw a rager. The village fades behind you. Your shadow stretches east, finally decisive. One step, then another. The letter hums, a lullaby in reverse. The key bites into the lock with a grind, metal teeth gnawing through centuries of rust. Rumor says Cordoba's caliphs stored incendiary jokes in vaults like this. You half expect a punchline or a fireball. The hinges scream, an opera of neglected iron. Damp air slithers up, mildew and buried parchment. 10 steps down each slippery, with moss older than the Reconquista. Your boot sinks into a puddle water, seeping through worn leather. Medieval cellars, doubled as scriptorium overflow, damp be damned. This one's different. The loom hits you first, a skeletal giant hunched in the gloom. Strands of hair stretch taut across its frame, blonde, black, silver, woven into a tapestry of knots. Renaissance nuns braided locks of the dead into shrouds. But this isn't mourning. It's a map. Each follicle glimmers, geocoordinates in keratin. Your thumb brushes a russet strand. It hums. 15 heartbeats gallop in your ears. Historians still argue whether hair retains memory or just arrogance. The strands tense, sudden as a guitar string snapping. A distant wail echoes, maybe the cellar, maybe your fraying nerves. The portrait leans against a wine cask, flaking oils staring back with your eyes. Same stubborn chin, same scar slicing the left brow. But the clothes, rich velvets, a sash embroidered with Habsburg eagles. You touch the frame, sticky with centuries of cellar breath. Self-portraits were the selfies of the Baroque era, you mutter. Jokes die fast down here. The artist signed it A de la Cruz, a name scratched from every Andalusian guild record, forgotten or erased. A single gray hair curls in the paint's fissure, yanked from the loom maybe. Something drips, rhythmic as a metronome. Follow the sound. Behind the loom, a desk festers, blotter stained with wine lees and blood. A quill rests beside an inkpot, still viscous. Touch it, your fingertip comes away blue. Fresco pigments used lapis, and crushed beetles knot this electric cerulean. The cellar shudders dust, snowing from ceiling beams. Your compass convulses against your thigh, needle spinning like a drunk ballerina. Norths everywhere and nowhere. A strand of hair snaps on the loom, pop of a musket shot. The portrait's eyes track you. No, that's just mold. Probably. A ledger lies open, pages warped by humidity. Entries in tight, paranoid script. 30 skeins of merchants, beard of 14 braids from hanged heretics, 3 locks, snipped from a sleeping pope, payment column, silver coins and absolutions. Monks sold hair as relics, but this is bulk commerce. Your breath fogs the air crisp where the cellar shouldn't be cold. Iron maiden in the corner. No, just a broken wine press, though the spikes look suspiciously personal. The loom creaks, a draft plucks its hairy strings. A melody emerges, Gregorian chant meets tavern ditty. You recognize the tune's same one the smithy's boy hummed. Coincidence? The letter in your satchel throbs, likely not. Pages rustle behind you, no one there. But the ledger's now open to today's date. Your name, ink still wet. A single hair coils beside the entry, jet black and rebelliously curly. They're charging you for the portrait. Fantastic. Footsteps echo above boots on flagstones. Too heavy for the smithy's boy. The ledger slams shut. Self-preservation instincts for paper goods. You pocket a loose strand of silver hair, souvenir or future evidence. The portrait winks, definitely the light. Digging nails into the loom's frame yields splinters and a hidden drawer. Inside, a doll, cloth body, face stitched with your own hair. Tudor witches used poppets to curse court rivals. You poke it, the cellar temperature plummets. Coincidences are overrated. The satchel jerks, letter levitating. It taps the portrait like an impatient creditor. Paid in full glows on the ledger, your hands ink-stained despite touching nothing. The ledger burns, ashes spelling interest due. Above a door slams. Time's up. The loom's strings snap, a cacophony of broken chords. Hair whips your face, 1,000 tiny lashes. You bolt up the stairs, portrait clutched to your chest. The lock reseals itself, click of finality. Sunlight stabs your eyes, noon now. The village bustles, fishmongers haggling, chickens squawking. Normalcy's a gut punch. Unwrap the portrait, but it's blank. Canvas bare, except 3 engraved words on the frame. Settle your debts. The letter in your satchel purrs content as a fed cat. You've seen your face in medieval oils, and it's underwhelming. At least they got the nose right. The gilded mirror's crack spreads sound of 1,000 quills snapping. Glass shivers, then stills, a jagged web framing your reflection, except it's not yours. The ink-stained woman presses her palms against the glass, her breath fogging your side. Renaissance mirrors used mercury and tin, but this one's silverback whispers Lisbon merchant codes. You lean closer, her eyes lock onto yours, brown as medieval oak gall ink. A shard pricks your thumb, blood beads, quicksilver bright. The crack inhales, silent, sharp, and you're falling forward into cold honey air. Tile floors above your head, desks nailed to the ceiling. Books flutter like bats. The scriptorium inverted. Your boots crunch broken glass. Up is down vertigo, churns your gut. There, your desk. A figure hunches over it, quill darting across vellum. The woman from the mirror. Her hair's a storm of loose curls, streaked with ash and cerulean ink. Venetian glassmakers supposedly blinded rivals to protect trade secrets, but her hands move sure, relentless. That's you freeze, the letter in her grip, your satchel's twin stamped with your unbroken seal. She writes faster. Words materialize on your forearm, phantom ink, each stroke a hot needle's drag. They sold the moon's reflection in Cordoba cheaper than saffron. You clutch your arm, taste iron. Her quill's nib splits, spattering the page with your scream. Historians still argue whether Alfonso X's astronomers traded star maps for Moroccan papyrus, or just smuggled wine. The debate feels academic now, your ribs aching in time with her pen stabs. The woman whirls, face yours, but weathered, crow's feet deeper, scar absent. Her lips move, you hear it in your teeth. Correct the 9th folio, a Pyrenean mantra for scribes, or maybe a threat. She hurls the letter into a brazier, flames char nothing. Your satchel bursts alight, embers dancing in the shape of Aragon's lost crown. You gasp, she grins, one tooth missing where yours holds a filling. The scriptorium breathes, walls pulsing like lungs. Above or below, a nightingale shrieks. Like your first night, here except its beak drips ink. Her desk drawer screeches open, tools familiar, your grandfather's magnifying glass. A jar of leeches, not for blood, but blotting. And the doll cloth body now stuffed with your stolen hairs. Tudor puppeteers embedded human teeth in poppets for authenticity. This one winks with your mother's eyes. Stop. Your voice wobbles, a stranger's plea. She dips her quill in the leech jar, writes on the air. 5 centuries, letters hang glowing to draft this reply. A pendulum swings through the floor, or ceiling, slicing the doll's threadbare throat. The scriptorium tilts, desks slide into walls. You grab the mirror's frame, only anchor in this madness. Her reflection smiles sad, mouthing burn them all as she fades. The doll combusts scent of singed hair and bergamot. Fire races up your sleeve, cool, painless. Ash words swirl, correct. The 9th folio. You lunge for her desk, flip through vellum sheets. 9th folio blank. 9th drawer empty. 9th stair from the bell tower crumbling. The nightingale dive bombs, inked talons snatching your collar. 9th, 9th, 9th. Your pocket vibrates. The silver hair strand from the cellar. Slide it across the folio, veins of light erupt. Maps, constellations, your childhood home. The woman's face, your face, ages 70 years in pulsar flashes. A key materializes, bone white, inscribed for the librarian's folly. You stab it into the folio. The scriptorium inhales, mirror shards orbit like furious planets. No more riddles. The first words that feel yours. The woman reappears, transparent now, edges fraying. Her quill etches air one last time. You always shout in marginalia. Lightning cracks, the mirror mends itself. Tile floors right themselves, thump of reality's reboot. You're back before the gilded glass, whole, unburned. The scriptorium yawns empty. On your desk, a single vellum sheet. Ninth folio. Your handwriting, but the ink's still wet. 2 words glisten, burn me. The nightingale perches on the brazier, tilts its head. You've read enough grimoires to know bad advice, also enough to recognize your own cursive, the T's crossed with vengeance. Feed the page to the flames. It curls without blackening. Smoke coils into the mirror, where the woman gives a thumbs up. Glass frosts over her final message. See you in Toledo. Your satchel weighs less, the letter gone. Only the doll's eyeball remains rolling under a desk with familiar hazel irises. You pocket it. Souvenirs keep the story alive. The mirror's surface hardens, cold as a headstone. Dawn bleeds through stained glass, puddles of sapphire and rust. You touch the mirror, lukewarm now. Normal, debatable. Historians still argue whether scriptorium ghosts were scribes or just wine fumes. The 9th folio's ash swirls in the brazier, a mini tornado. It sketches a map in soot, then collapses. You scribble the coordinates on your palm, next chapter knocking. Somewhere a woman laughs your laugh, echoing through centuries of ink and poor life choices. You blow dust off the doll's eyeball. It winks. The envelope grows warm in your palm, wax softening like old guilt. You press the edges, crumbling vellum fights to stay open. Medieval seals used beeswax and vermilion. Crushed beetles gave them that blood-rich hue. Funny, those same dyes stained the lips of queens who bit through lies. Your thumb grazes the Aragonese script, those looping letters now familiar as your own heartbeat. Not done with me yet, you mutter. The nightingale perches on a splintered shelf, ink-dipped feathers glinting. Its head tilts, avian shrug, before it dissolves into smoke. You've read about Roman couriers swallowing messages to avoid capture, but this feels messier. The scriptorium exhales, pebbled dust rising in protest. Floorboards creak beneath your boots, tense as a lute string. Place the letter back in the codex, where it sat for 8 generations. Simple, but your fingers stall. Moonlight slices through stained glass, carving your shadow into a stranger's silhouette. The wax pools, glossy and eager, then cools. Irrevocable, hardening to stone. You've heard of scribes forging royal seals with candle soot and clever fingers, but this one brands itself. No going back now. Cold seeps through the parchment, centuries of waiting leaching into your veins. A draft riffles your collar, scent of myrrh and betrayal. That cellar portrait still haunts your face, staring back from another era. Coincidence, you told yourself. Bad lighting. The envelope pulses once, a moth's final wing beat before stilling. Forgotten, you whisper, but names linger, hook behind the rib's persistence. The codex gapes, pages brittle as burnt toast. Slide the letter inside, watch dust settle like snow on unmarked graves. Historians still argue whether unsent letters were acts of cowardice or the bravest words never delivered. The nightingale's ghost caws overhead 3 notes sharp as stilettos. You count breaths, 12, 13, 14, until the codex snaps shut. Air rushes from your lungs, unexpected relief. Wine stains blotch the desk, left by monks who mixed piety with Pinot Noir. Your palm aches where the bone key pierced it. Tighten your grip, smile bitter. Toledo's archives hold a scroll written in spider silk, or so drunks claim at the Templar's tankard. Maybe visit tomorrow. Maybe burn the map on your palm. The Scriptorium dims, candle wicks drowning in their own wax. Your boot crushes a desiccated quill snap of a spine. No matter. The next sleeper will find new tools, fresh mysteries. Moonlight retreats azure to slate as clouds swallow the sky. You touch the codex's spine. Cold, ordinary. Centuries from now, someone will tug it free, ink-smudged fingers trembling like yours did. Let them unravel the Egyptian king's shadow, the queen's plea in the ashes. Salt stings your eyes, wind or weariness. You pocket the doll's eyeball. Its hazel glint winks once. The brazier's dead, 9th folio's ash map blown into oblivion. Only the mirror remains silverback tarnished, crack mended. Your reflection yawns, unburdened, almost bored. Footsteps echo in the cloisters, distant, deliberate. The librarian's silhouette fills the doorway, hooded, inscrutable. They extend a hand, palm upturned. No words. You drop the rusted key into their grip, its purpose served. They melt into shadows, silent as erased marginalia. You linger, fingertips tracing the codex's embossed title. Ex umbra. Out of shadows. Corny, but effective. A moth flutters past, landing on the sealed letter. Its wings mimic the wax's crimson swirls. Nature's plagiarist. Dawn cracks the horizon, honey gold bleeding through leaded glass. The Scriptorium groans, its overnight guest overstaying. You step into the courtyard, grass dew damp and defiant. The moon's already fading, memory dissolving like sugar in wine. Your name, unimportant. The next seeker will invent one for you. Ferdinand the Foolish, perhaps. Catalina the Curious. Let them. Stories outlive flesh, and the moon's amnesia is merciful. Behind you, a rustle of pages. A laugh not yours ricochets off limestone walls. You don't turn. Some doors close for good. Others wait patient as a Chinese letter in the dark. The envelope cools in your grip edges, no longer biting. Wax hardens, a scar sealing what's done. Beneath your thumb, the Egyptian king's cipher rests, quiet now, like a storm past. The nightingale's smoke lingers as faint incense, no song left to sing. You press the codex shut, its spine sighing relief. Dust motes swirl, dancing their end in honey-gold dawn. 8 generations of whispers drown in stillness. Your shadow stretches, thin and ordinary, against sun-warmed stone. The librarian's key weighs less now, rusted teeth softened by surrender. No more bone-deep chill, the cellar's portrait fades to fog. Moonlight retreats, dragging its ghosts. You flex your palm, no map, no sting, just creases life-etched over time. Wind stirs the cloisters, carrying myrrh and dew. Let them argue over courage and cowardice. Let them pry at sealed lips. You learned young, some stories thrive unspoken, wild as ivy cracking tombs. A moth brushes your sleeve, crimson wings mirroring the wax's swirl. Nature's thief, stealing secrets to pollen dust. You almost smile. Dawn pools at your feet, spilling into the courtyard. Grass drinks it greedily, green defying centuries of boots. Your name, let it fray. Let some future hand, ink-stained, trembling, christen you in myth. Names are nails, after all. Better to be wind unburdened, slipping through cracks in fate's wall. Behind you, pages stir, a chuckled breath. You keep walking. Stories outlive the teller, outlive the moon's hollow eye. Let the Scriptorium keep its riddles. You've made peace with not knowing. Boots crunch gravel path stretching toward a village asleep. Somewhere, a innkeep stokes a fire. Somewhere, a drunkard mutters of spider silk scrolls. Tomorrow's problem. For now, the horizon bleeds peach and promise. Breath steadies. Shoulders lighten. The night's ink rinses from your skin. You close your eyes. Let the warmth lick your face. When you look back, the Scriptorium is a silhouette smaller than memory insisted. The gate creaks shut. A single note, flute clear, floats over the wall. You don't answer. Morning rises, ordinary and immense. You step into its glow, empty-handed, echoes fading. The letter sleeps. Let it. Somewhere a key turns. Somewhere a shadow smiles. You walk.